Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
What?
So thank God the Suns won.
Yeah, little do people know, the show was teetering on extinction if the Suns lost.
Well,
That's how much of a baby I am. Like, if we lose, I'm just gonna cry and go to sleep and fuck this show.
all right, let's throw out the order of this show for a second. Let me just say welcome to the crossover. Today's Friday, April 22nd. And usually we do mail days and announcements first, but let's just throw that away. The Suns just went up 2-1 on the Pelicans, and Josh informed me that he may have a rant that he's ready to deliver. Are you ready to deliver it now? Is this okay to do it this way, bud?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I know you got a big mail day, so maybe we'll build up to a bigger rant later, but CP3 was amazing again. They only won because of him. The rest of the team was trash tonight. They were 4 of 26 from 3. 4 of 26.
Oof.
And CP3 scored 13 points out of 15 in a little stretch there in the fourth quarter and hit 4 jumpers in a row to basically ice the game. It was the smallest dude in the court next to Alvarado. Smallest dude in the court, just torching everybody. CP3 is amazing. He's an incredible player. I don't think he gets near enough credit. I own his cards. Big whoop. I'm biased. He's amazing.
That everything?
Suns need to play better, man. They look really bad.
Just because of the 3-point conversion rate is pretty low right now?
Jay Crowder looks lost, dude. He looks like he doesn't even know how to play basketball. Every time he touches the ball, he's fumbling it. When he misses, it's off so much that it's a long rebound to a transition bucket every time. And then he sulks because he missed so bad. And then I gets behind him. Crowder will get it going, hopefully. He's in a slump or whatever, but,
Yeah.
It's been bad. I don't know. CP3 just all right, fine, I'll win this game. Fine. And Ayton was incredible in the first half. He had 21 in the first half and 7 in the third, and he didn't score the rest of the game.
Not bad. He shot a high percentage, too, I believe.
Oh, always, yeah.
A lot of that, though, is because of the playmaking of the Suns, and mostly CP3 is facilitating good looks.
I think a lot of it tonight was post moves. I watched obviously the whole game, but his post moves were really solid tonight. There wasn't any lobs. It was mostly they gave him good post passes, and he just went to work. But he would get passes close to the rim, so he didn't have to do much. But he's got solid moves. Hakeem very light.
Do you think the Suns can win this series without Booker?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they'll probably still win the series. They shot 4 of 26 and they won.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right,
Adam says, the Pelicans are good though. McCollum is really good. Ingram is really good.
Yeah, look at it. I just want to encourage the use of statistics. And so our friend Adam says, I don't think people can truly comprehend a 14-0 assist to turnover ratio. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about how CP3, his assist to turnover ratio is just insane.
He's been like that his whole career. He's led the NBA in steals multiple times, and then on the other end, he doesn't ever give up steals. He's always in control of the ball. I think he still is top 10 all time in PER, which is incredible for someone his size. Last I checked, he was 8 or 9, which is incredible for someone his size. And he's not traditionally much of a shooter either, so he's just a very efficient, strong player.
Yeah, no doubt. He always seems to be able to turn it on in the fourth quarter.
Well, he always has that little mid-range jumper almost whenever he wants it because he just picks on Nance or Valanciunas or somebody, and then he just gets that little J. And he was missing it in game 2, and he made 5 straight or whatever in the fourth, and that was kind of the game. Did you see the Jackson Hayes play?
Oh, yeah, I did. I mean, clearly a a dangerous, dangerous play.
He's the kid that got in trouble off the court. They're on like a security camera, right? That was him, wasn't it?
That sounds familiar. I don't know.
Like he was like screaming at a woman or something like that. I don't want to screw that up because that's a bad allegation, but I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah, dangerous play. We also know Jay Crowder's notorious flopper and kind of a Draymond Green light, but
And he was talking.
But very, very dangerous play. You hate to see it happen. Royce O'Neal sent Jalen Brunson to the ground in similar plays like that multiple times in the most recent. You just hate to see it. I understand the passions are running hot, but
It's just a low IQ play. Get yourself thrown out. They need McGee and Ayton killed him after that play. They needed him.
Man.
It's big.
That you could almost argue that was pretty important to the outcome of that game.
And he just is leaving the game, doing this with the crowd, and it's like, dude, you just made a boneheaded play. You're costing your team. What are you thinking here? He's 21. That's the way it is. I want to talk about the Timberwolves tonight, but let's do the mail. I want to get into boneheaded stuff.
We have so much content for these.
Speaking of boneheads,
we have so much content for these amazing people. Can I just ask you one follow-up question, because it's just I've wanted to talk about this for a little while, and just the passions are running hot right now. This is a great time to do it.
My energy is really high. Yeah.
Dude, the NBA playoffs and being collectors and collecting an active player like a CP3 and then being on this playoff run with him. And it really feels on a much smaller scale, and this sounds so corny and stupid, but it really feels like we are somehow involved too.
Yeah.
We are part of it. We get nervous and anxious, and this is actually what makes collecting so fun. This is one of the best parts about collecting. We're in the playoffs too, man. We are collecting these players. We have their cards. We have skin in the game, and I just love it. I just look forward to this. This is my favorite time of the year as a collector. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, but I just to get it out of the way though, to be honest, thinking about the cards that I have and how they might be, the financial value of them might be tied to the game. That's the last thing I think about. Honestly, I really do. I really don't think about that because that just feels really disingenuous to root for a player so that you can make more money. And that's maybe why I don't like gambling. It really is it's more like a connection of I collect him because I know he's good and I like rooting for him versus I collect him so that he can hopefully play well and I make money. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, 100%. Look, we are not owners of NBA teams, all right? We're not pretending that that's what we are. But when you see a guy like Mark Cuban or Steve Ballmer on the sidelines absolutely losing their mind, going crazy when their teams are winning, it's not just because they're we get one more playoff game in the revenue. It's because they are spiritually invested in the outcome of these teams. They love it. They pour their heart and soul into it. They care about it so much. And we're like that on a much, 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 much smaller, more humbler scale. But
I like that analogy. I like that analogy a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's when you're in the moment watching these games, you're really not able to think logically and clearly about did that basket just raise my net worth because no, you're not thinking about that. You're just please win this game,
When CP3 made his 20th straight shot in game one, Josh was like, my net worth just went up 0.0008%.
I've never said that. I don't. You know how people go to Instagram to post their big cards after the guy has a big game? I try not to do that because it just feels like a classless move of oh look, see, this is why I've been rooting because I told you my cards are, you know what I mean? No, I collect as a secondary aspect, and I'm still on this island that I prefer the sport over the cards or the collecting.
Totally. And for people who are watching us later and don't understand the context with the chat, the reason why I just flipped off the camera has nothing to do with Josh. It has to do with Adam Lefko, who says, Chris, what's it like collecting a guy that's down 0-3?
No, we'll get there tonight. I don't.
What's it like rooting for a guy who's up 3-0 but just broke his thumb? Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. Sorry about that.
Embiid has all this playoff cachet that he's built up over the last 5 years or something. Hasn't Jokic made it further in the playoffs than Embiid?
Jokic has made it to a conference finals. So
I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a nice segue into mail day.
Let me go first then. I gotta go first
Go
because I
first. Yeah,
know
let's go.
that mine are just like chicken scraps compared to what you're about to show. But these are recycled from Saturday. I got these Saturday, and so I'll just show them real quick. PSA mail day. Credentials. I don't have the setup today. I'm in the living room, so PSA 8. I had a 4 upgraded, and then I cracked this from a 9.5 and got a PSA 10.
Oh,
So.
Congrats. That always
The other
feels
one
good. That ain't as easy as it seems, is it?
Well, the other 9.5 was a PSA 8, so you win some, you win some, you get clobbered some.
Yeah. Well, congrats. Those are awesome cards.
All right.
All right. Well, let me get this smaller mail day out of the way first. Christina and I went to Mike's Stadium Sports Cards in Denver, owned by Mike Fruitman, and picked up 2 2017 Prism retail boxes, basketball. And we had a great time. We actually went to a game last night, and Mike was there and just really helped us have a great time at that event. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, let's get to my big mail day. Here's a little clue. And first of all, big thanks to Nuggets 1023, Shane. Absolutely awesome collector to work with on a deal. He gave me this cool box that the card comes in.
A fraction of the price.
Okay, yeah. So there's a little clue as to what the card might be. Feel free to guess.
Well, I feel like you need to talk a little bit about just like what this card is and how much you've been on the Jokic train and how much you've been talking about it and how this might relate to that. And just do a little thing on that, please.
Sure, yeah. I've been drinking the Jokic Kool-Aid for about 2 or 3 years, and just purely as a fan. So, I love him because nobody thinks he's good in the media. They begrudgingly give him his flowers, but it's really fun to like hammer people over the head with home run statistical arguments that they don't know are out there apparently, or that they think nobody else knows exist. So I've always really enjoyed him as like this underdog player that's fun to root for. And, he comes from the same part of the world as Luka. Luka is half Serbian, Jokic is full Serbian. So it's just cool, like narrative-wise, kind of following these guys. And plus the Serbian basketball team is really good. They beat Team USA in summer competition 2 summers ago. So they're a really good team. So
people think it's a Prism Gold. That's the first guess, Prism Gold.
Okay. Actually, South Park got it. I shouldn't even. All right.
Just go.
Yeah, let's go. All right. All right, let's go. Let's opening the slab.
I'm offended that people don't get it right. They're like, "Oh, is it a silhouette?" I'm like, "What? Come on. Who do you think this is? Some lame." No.
What do you think this is over here, guys? All right, here it is.
Come on, man. This is too much build up. This is not your style. Let's go.
Shane actually gave me this as a gift. This is Jokic's first card ever in the pink jersey. Let me take it out of the slab guard. This
and the sleeve. Oh.
Just get my ugly face completely out of the picture.
Jesus, man. So what do you think? What do you think of the black? Is this your first like rookie black? No, I guess you got a few. But it's just a bigger one. What do you think? What's it feel like?
Oh, it's great. It's great. We pump a player for 2 years, then we buy their card at the absolute peak. That's how we do it.
That's what I wanted you to say earlier. You didn't say that because people might be like, "Oh, he's talking about Jokic so much, and now he's going to pump his cards." And it's like, no, he bought the card after he pumped him up. He wasted so much of his own money doing this. Christina laughs because we talk about that on the show all the time.
Just straight up pumped him for 2 years and then bought it. Probably the absolute peak.
That's an incredible card, man. I mean, we talked on this show about how we talked about it last week where it's like there's certain cards where you just want the card, and it's your favorite player. It's just, man, just kind of a perfect storm,
Oh yeah, dude. This doesn't happen that much This doesn't happen that often, where you get to just actually get your dream card. Like, you know how bad I wanted the McCaffrey. You know, I was just.
This is a better looking card, and it's more prestigious.
Oh,
it's not a finite. It's older.
I don't even think it's a close comparison. And I noticed as well, there's a typo on Jokic's Prism card. They misspell his hometown in Serbia. It's supposed to be called Sombor, but they spell it as Somber.
Oh, because he's sad they're down 0-3.
Yeah, so, dude, and like, okay, so to tie in with this, right, because Shane very graciously, even though he's very busy, agreed to fly to Denver to meet, to hand off the card. And so he was like, look, we could try and schedule the meeting so that it happens around the same time as the playoff game. And we did. So we went and actually watched game 3 last night. And it was amazing, man. It was just, I love watching NBA basketball live. It was such a great time. Even though they lost, it was a close game. That's really all you can ask for. And then after the game, Mike from Mike Stadium Sports Cards here in Denver, great shop. He's a security guard and head of security at the Ball Arena. Our friend Big Rangs, Rippin' List on eBay and Instagram connected us up. And then we got to meet Steph Curry after the game. We got to meet Klay Thompson. It was an absolute blessing.
Those are no scrubs, man. Those are like Hall of Famers right there.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I have a question. I know the answer, but I just really want you to say it because this is like part of our shtick. If Jokic came up to you last night and you had the black with you, and he was like, "Whoa," and you explain it to him because you're excited, or it just comes up. Even I know you probably wouldn't explain it to him, so just pretend you did. And you're like, oh, Nicole, this is actually your best card, your rookie one. You don't have a National Treasures. Obviously, you didn't sign one. There's no logo, man. This is your best card. And he's like, wow, that's so amazing. Do you want me to sign it for you? Can I sign that? What would you say?
I'd say hell no.
He like has his pen out, and he's like totally ready. Do you like rip it out of his hand? Like,
I say, don't even forget I even exist, man. Worry about your game. You want to do something for me? Don't get the ball stolen from you by Draymond on the final play. You want to do something for me? Do that. Also, we sat right next to the whole Jokic family.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, like, the brothers from infamy of raging on TV fame, we sat next to them the whole game. Jokic I think it must have been his mom was right there, like 2 seats away.
His mom,
his wife.
Little do they know they have the biggest defender and statistician and collector right next to them. Little did they know.
Dude, every time he did something, I was so annoying. I was like, MVP.
I had another question, but I can't remember.
Did I get into an argument with a Warriors fan? Yes, I did.
Did they? No, hold on. Did they yell profanities in their native tongue?
Well, I don't know their native tongue, but they did yell it in English when when the Warriors had the game in hand and Draymond storms around the court
yelling.
And like the Jokic brother who was closest to us steps into the aisle and goes, "Fuck you, motherfucker." Just right at Draymond.
Dude, that's why I love sports, dude. The emotion is so high that like you just say the craziest stuff.
Yeah, but like, dude, just like the way the stars aligned at that event, like we show up to the game and by the way, the Nuggets and Ball Arena, the production of the games is amazing. They are really, really good. One of the best produced games I've ever been to. So like, but we sit next to the Jokic brothers. Like, that's just when it's like, okay, like, why are we next to the Jokic brothers? Why are we just sitting right next to them?
That's good seats. So the game was good, other than the loss.
Dude, I love watching NBA basketball in person. I love it, dude. When I watch it on TV, I try to pretend what would this look like if I was there in like the perfect seats. That's because it's so much. It's just I understand why people fork over so much money for season tickets. It's worth it.
Are you happy with the way that the story's going to turn out of how you got the black? Because I try to like shape a story around me getting that card. I almost like force it. You know, you try to like, oh, I just should travel and I should go to. You almost, I didn't say you forced it for this, but you almost like curated this little bubble around it to make it more fun.
Yeah, I mean, if we're not having fun, what are we doing? That's the whole point of this thing, right? So, but I don't know. What the story is that I watched this guy play for 2 years. And then maybe his greatest collector in the world, which is Shane, Nuggets 1023, was gracious enough to hear out my offers and put up with me escalating the offers and finally put me out of my misery and just say yes. Yeah.
Can I please get some credit for building the showcase features so that you could find that card? Just shower me with credit.
Dude, that's what I told Shane when I was sitting there with him today. I was like,
So humble, John.
when I was sitting there with Shane, I was just like, dude, I was like, because we were telling his parents about what Card Ladder is, and I was like, yeah, if Card Ladder never existed, then Showcase never existed, I probably wouldn't have spent hours just like going through your Jokic collection over and over again and mustering the willpower to make an offer. So, yeah, Showcase is definitely to blame.
To blame for your recent poverty.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not done either because we're coming to Phoenix in a few days to pick up another gigantic card and another Jokic as well.
Yeah, wait, the one that I have, right?
Yes. Yep.
Did you tell Christina that I perfected for Tuesday? We're ready to go?
Yeah, she knows. Christina, he's perfected.
Dinner.
Yes. All right. What was the difference between the first offer and the final offer? $100,000 was the difference. You guys know how much I overpay for things.
I was gonna say, like, well, I kind of want people to know what you paid, but I'm not gonna say it obviously. But if there's any doubt of like Chris pumping and dumping or whatever you want to say about it, like, no.
I don't mind saying what the price was.
Well, I was just saying you pay enough where you don't really leave yourself any room for buffer for like flipping it. This isn't like a price that we were like, actually, can I get a 10K cheaper so I can flip? No, you're paying the max for what you want it for yourself for the rest of your life. That's how you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I mean, that's the thing too, is like Shane just took mercy on me and he was like, okay, just fine. Like, we'll do it. But yeah, the price paid for the card was $250K cash. So that's the price paid. Full disclosure.
I think when you pay that much,
Fucking Labib. Don't even say that, Labib, because like that was part of my arrangement with the collector was that I'm not selling this card. I don't have a buyer lined up. I'm not flipping it. This is a card. This is like one of the very best cards in me and Christina's collection.
well, the day that you guys are here is Tuesday. That's Game 5 of the Suns.
Really?
Yep. In Phoenix.
Interesting.
I'm willing to move my dinner plans to another night if you guys want to go to that game.
How much are tickets to the Sun games super expensive?
That's the guy who just spent $250. Come on, guy.
Dude, do you know how long I have to work to pay off that loan? We're not trying to head on to it.
Well, I'll plant the seed with Christina. She can plant it. I'm not even asking you, Chris. I'm not even talking to you. You're just in the way.
Hey, just go over me. I don't even know why you are asking me.
I was like, why aren't you guys coming till Tuesday? And you were like, why are you asking me? We should go to the game, though. We can consider it or whatever. Think about it.
Dude, I love going to NBA games.
Joshua,
You can hear me bitch and moan for 3 hours.
Joshua,
Can you ensure a Suns win?
What?
let's make it happen.
All
There
right,
you go.
sweet. The tickets aren't that bad. I'll find good seats. I'll make it happen.
All right, make it happen.
Out of wax with the headline, Hoodie Stat Guy buys cards.
But I'm warning you now. Well, I mean, you're either going to watch it with me at my house and hear me bitch and moan, or at the stadium where it's drowned out by other people screaming. So I'm just, you guys should be pushing for this.
Yeah. All right. Well, you don't need to twist my arm to go to an NBA game.
Please.
All right, let's move on. It's uncomfortable talking about this. Okay. Do we have any card ladder related announcements or anything?
Nah. Dude, I'm exhausted. Like I can't get up and go think about computers and stuff right now. I'm exhausted.
No, and you're exhausted, I presume, from that game.
Yes, those games take it all out of me.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I hate, Chris? This is a take. When people in the media after the game are like, "Oh, ho hum, the Suns won. They're the better team." I'm like, yeah. After I just poured my heart into a game for 3 hours, and you're just like, "Ho hum." No, that was a tough game. It could have gone either way. What the fuck?
Right. Yep. Yep. I know it.
It's like, oh, that was expected. Well, it wasn't by me because check my heart rate.
Josh lost a month off of his life today.
I'm gonna be bald soon.
Come on in. It ain't as bad as it seems.
The water's warm
The water is plenty. The water's just fine.
because it's not soaked up by any of the hair.
Look, we could use you on our team. Yeah, we could really use you. Come on. All right. So mostly basketball cards says Christina was out here taking full swigs of found water bottles at playoff games. We'd love to hear your breakdown of the footage. Are you aware of this? Did you see this?
Oh,
No.
I don't want to. No.
Okay, so here's the deal. So Mike brought us on to the court long after the game, and Klay Thompson's water bottle with his Gatorade or whatever in it was sitting under his chair. And so we the guys from California Roadshow were also there. Shout out to Ryan. And he like picked it up, and then they were kind of joking around, like, "Oh, we should drink it." And they were like, "No," and Christine's like, "I'll drink it."
They did.
They dared her.
Wait, is Christina one of those people where like you can get her to do anything if you just like dare her to do it?
Yes. So they dared her, and I was like, "Look, Klay isn't in COVID protocols, so we should be all right. We should be all right."
We should be all right. Clay's an odd guy, though. I don't know. That was risky.
So she shook it up, and they put the cameras on her for the California Roadshow, and she drank a swig of Clay's bottle.
And now she's definitely sick.
And then today she was like, "I'm not feeling so good."
Klay Thompson's like blowing his nose on the sidelines. We're like, oh.
Yeah, so I have been quarantining from Christina. That's why she sounds very far away in the distance. Yeah, okay. So that happened as well. All
Let's
right.
get to some good questions. This is getting bad.
This is getting really bad. All right.
Why don't you take a picture with those guys? I mean, I know the answer, but
God, you know the answer. You know the answer. I'm just
like they look at you. They probably looked at you and they're like, "Picture," and you're like,
"Oh, they were like."
you're like waving them off. You're like, no.
Please. I don't
You're
do
like-
pictures stuff.
You're like, no. I've signed too many signatures today, guys. No more.
During the game, actually, there was like Mike Dunleavy and Sean Livingston and some other Warriors guys were sitting near us too, like organizational guys. And at the very end of the game, I was just raging, and Steph Curry was shooting free throws, and I was like, "That's Jordan Poole's backup," and and they all just like looked at me and just started busting out laughing, but you could tell that they were really upset. But then I made a total hypocrite of myself, because when we met Steph after the game, I was like, "Oh, great game, Steph. Can we just get this picture real quick? You're amazing."
You're just slobbing the knob.
Yeah. And then I told Klay Thompson that he played a great game as well. And that one I actually meant. Klay Thompson was phenomenal in that game. He was really good.
All three of those guards. It's scary how good the three of them are on the court. It's because you're like, oh, they're undersized. No, it doesn't matter. They're just they spread the court so much that it's like, oh my God, everyone's wide open.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So first question for today, Ryan Bitter says, oh, and this relates to your story that you posted on Instagram today. He says, do jersey sales for a player correlate with card collectability? But why don't you explain your Instagram story first and then we'll get to this question.
Oh, the jersey sales from like January 20th through today, basically, were posted the top 20, I think, and James Harden was number 2. And I was like, James Harden, what the fuck? What? And I posted that because I thought it was interesting, and it just made me think, like, man, the media hates him. Fans say they hate him. How is he number 2 if everybody hates him? Like, yeah, he switched teams, so like people went and bought his new jersey, but still, like, if he's hated so much, Ben Simmons isn't in the top 20. He changed teams, and he's hated. So like, it didn't make any sense to me, and I just thought, like, man, there's probably a lot of people out there that like James Harden, and they're like, fuck the media, I like him, and there's probably people out there that collect for the very same reason. The correlation between jersey sales and, I mean, it's probably a pretty strong one. You know, better players, more collectors, better jersey sales.
Yep. I think that's about right. And it is like, that's a very positive, wholesome message, is that people out there think for themselves. And just because there's a dominant media narrative that Harden's terrible now, but really there's still plenty of James Harden supporters and fans and believers.
Well, people messaged me. I got this is a lot of DMs on that one. God, I shouldn't have said that. I got a lot of DMs and people saying.
Yeah, did you get hundreds of DMs?
No, people were being like, well, yeah, obviously it's because he switched teams. What are you, stupid? Like, it was like I was some sort of moron for not realizing it. I knew that was why he's number 2, but I was like, but none of you would have guessed he was number 2. None of you would have guessed he was top 20. So,
yeah.
like, yeah, you can say, I told you so after you see him in number 2, but, like, it still doesn't quite register. It seems odd.
Fair enough. Okay, so do jersey sales per player correlate with their collectability?
Yes, but it's just like a popularity thing.
Yeah, so it's one way to measure how popular an athlete is. But
it's actually a pretty decent way, right?
Yeah, you would think, but Harden is certainly not like the number 2. You know.
Well, yeah, he probably went from like 9 or 10 to 2 because of the trade. So let's put him at like 9 or 10 or something, and then the rest of that list looks fine to me. I mean, I think Curry's probably more popular than LeBron, but LeBron has more people know about him, so like the volume is higher.
Sure. Plus, like, this might be this definitely is one of those instances where, like, the market that you're in matters a little bit too. Being a Los Angeles Laker, there's so many Laker fans who want that jersey.
We did that this morning on a show, on the collectible show, but yeah. You're right. This one does matter.
This one it does, yeah. Okay. All right. The hobbies archaeologist Julian Schultz would like to know, what is the catalyst that incites an athlete to become a hobby darling? How does an athlete go from being a non-hobby darling to a hobby darling?
So would like Jordan Poole be a hobby darling? Who's a hobby darling?
Yeah, good. Who is a hobby darling? John Morant is a hobby darling. How about
John Morant? I think it's where like your excitement exceeds your actual like rational play, or like your rational logical response to what their value should be. It's like where the excitement built up around them, maybe because of their age or like they're exceeding expectations. I think it's like LeBron is never going to be a darling because his expectations are already so high. It's like someone that exceeds sort of that like limit of what we thought they could be. That's when they become a darling.
That's a really neat way to define it. So when people get extra excited about a player, when the excitement outstrips the performance, that's when they're hobby darling.
That sounds kind of mean. I would say outstrips their expectations.
Outstrips their expectations. But what if you have somebody who has really low expectations and they outdo those? You know, isn't there more? Isn't there more to it? Don't you also need to be like a media darling too? Maybe? Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you need to be like a hard worker. I was thinking like a hard worker too. Mm-hmm. Like darling doesn't really line up with that term, but it's like someone that the fans like to root for because they sort of give it their all or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think like being at the top of your sport usually matters too. Like, is Dennis Rodman a hobby darling? Because, you know, he might be the exception to that rule. I'm not saying he wasn't a great rebounder, great defender, but he's just, you know, not – well, he made the top 75 all time. Well, I don't even know. Like, yeah, I guess. Did he make the
Maybe,
top 75 all time?
I think he did.
Okay, well then forget
Most
it.
of the hobby darling, like Trey Young. I'm trying to struggling to think of hobby darlings, right?
Steph Curry.
John Morant's my favorite. Steph Curry, yeah. It's like these are three small guys. It's like what I'm saying, like their expectation of like their basketball, expectation on their size prowess is outdone by their heart and their hustle.
Okay, all right. Good food for thought there. Like what
Has anyone ever said Joel Embiid is a hobby darling?
No, I don't think we would call Joel Embiid a hobby darling. All right, Flippity Flip Card says, do you ever get turned off by a card that you'd otherwise desperately want if it frequently falls into the hands of flippers or dealers?
This is yours, man. You love this question.
Yeah,
Take
you
it.
love this question. I don't know. We've answered so many times that I've run out of the energy to like fully answer this question.
But come on, muster it.
The answer is yes. This is terrible. People can put their stench all over a card.
Stench.
And, yeah, and it's just I think it actually does matter who owns which cards and what's it speaks to community a little bit. What community of collectors are you joining when you buy this card or start collecting this player?
Yep.
So I do it is a turn off. But also there's just like a venting question, like there's certain, I think we all sometimes have cards in our collections and we're like
The meme says the Jokic now has a stench.
Exactly. I'm trying to make all of you never want to own this card. It happens. We all know who the culprits of this are.
It's when they post it over and over and over and brag about it and stuff. Or my pet peeve is when someone buys something, posts about it, how it's like a grail for them and they took so long to acquire it, and then the very next story is like available. Like, well, you just ruined that one for me.
Yeah, hate that for sure. All right, R Chaser 918 says, "Can you collect the player, but only own their high-end cards, or does that only make you an investor?" It's funny, the meme. That's really funny.
Is it saying like, are you allowed to be only a collector and not an investor?
No, this is saying like this is kind of look, if let's say you collect the player and you like you and Chris Paul, you only go after Chris Paul's high end cards.
Yeah, but like I'm also not like buying every Mikal Bridges card knowing that it's like not a good investment. So I personally think there's always some level of investment no matter what you want to admit. You're not going to spend money on high end if you're not at least thinking some percentage of about investment. And there, you might be an example of this. There might be someone out there that really does think of it that purely, but I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to admit to that.
No, I mean, look, just the very nature of figuring out how much money to spend on something, even if you're overpaying, you still have a concept of what the market is, and you have a concept of like not wanting to get extremely underwater ever on a card. Sure. So if that makes you an investor, then so be it. But let's not do the whole collector-investor dichotomy thing. I think that's good. I think you can definitely collect high-end items and never sell them. And like there are some of the greatest collectors in this hobby are super high-end guys who don't sell anything ever. So... Okay, the Riz44 said, when thinking of card investments as long-term holds, what do you look for when you're trying to find a good long-term hold?
Long-term hold? I mean, honestly, dude, like, I really don't want to overthink this one either. It's just cards that I really want to own.
Bingo. That's exactly my answer too, buddy. If I want to own it for a long time, that's a good sign. That's a good
The one that, like, the first, how, we love doing the, like, initial reaction. What's the first thing that pops in your mind? It's the finest gold LeBron. Like, I just think of that card, and I'm like, I don't even care about what it's worth at the time, where it moves. I just want to have it forever. Like, I just love that card so much. I'm never going to sell it, ever. It's a PSA 9. It's like an old label. I I just love that card so much that I just don't think about it in any other terms than this is my Grail card. I just want it. I just want to own it. And that's the card that like tipped the scales for me to make me think like, what are cards that I just want to own? It's just a simple boiled down to that, you know?
Yep, 100%. And like and then like to complete the thought, that's the recipe for what's probably going to have a decent likelihood of being a good long-term investment is when everybody who owns the card does not want to sell it because they would rather own it than get any amount of cash, relatively speaking. That's the recipe for an excellent supply-demand relationship that suggests that if one of those ever does come up, there's going to be a ton of people who are going to bid very strong to own that card. That's like the underlying fundamentals of why that would probably be a good investment.
Can I add something to that though?
Yeah.
To like put a little bit of safety behind what you said. And that's like if the player also aligns with a few fundamentals, then everything you said just is like slam dunk.
Yeah, agreed.
But if you have a player that you feel that way about that's like more of a prospect and is super young, I just give the caveat that it is still very risky to do something like that. And I'm not, my style is more the vets and the older guys. So, of course I would say that. But I just for some reason, like to me, the discussion around like what player is it just means so much to collecting. Like if what you just said for like Bill Russell or for Wilt Chamberlain, dude, slam dunk. No matter what, get that card, get that Grail card. If it's an exquisite or a rookie PSA 9, whatever.
Yep.
You're gonna do great. If you're trying to like apply that sneakily to like a younger player that you're trying to like flip in the future, and you're saying it's a Grail card, you know what I mean? Like then it just kind of loses a little bit of its theme. So just think about the player. I don't know.
Very well said, because that's exactly right. It's like you also could have a very young player who it feels like everybody wants to long-term hold their cards, and then maybe they even do long-term hold their cards, but the demand for that player just absolutely tanks over the next 5 or 10 years.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the guy that you want to stake your flag in and you want to collect them for the rest of your life. Then go for it,
Yes. 100%. All right. Drake's PC says, I've noticed Josh recently upgraded his grades on some low-numbered PC cards, on cards numbered 50 or less in your PC. So on those type of cards, when are you okay keeping a lower grade if a higher grade becomes available? Or do you always just inevitably look for the highest grade?
I mean, the factors there are like the rarity. If I'm even able to get a higher grade, right? Obviously, that's number one. Like the PMG green penny, I'm not like holding out to get a higher grade ever. Like if it's numbered to 50 and I have a 9 and a 10 comes up, I'm happy to upgrade. Has this come up for you? Like I just sort of like it randomly happened to me like 2 times in the last month, and it's kind of a rarity that I would have the opportunity to upgrade a grade. It's not something I seek out, to be honest.
It's not something I seek out either. I'll give an example. I own a 97, Christina and I own a 97-98 Ultra Platinum Medallion, Michael Jordan BGS 9. And a few months ago, or maybe it's a little more than now, a BGS 9.5 came up on Golden. And the thought didn't even cross my mind one bit that, hey, I'd like to upgrade this card into a better condition. Once I get the card, I accept it as is, and I like the grade. I
disagree.
Huh?
So we're different on this. I like that.
Yeah. Yes. No. Once I own a card, especially like a higher end one, I settle into the grade. I settle into the card, and I'm good. I'm locked in.
The one is.
What about the 2018 Luck of the Ladder Gold BGS 9 I bought that you then went and bought the 9.5?
That's different. Christina says, well, we're trying to collect the set of Luck of the Lottery Prism Golds from 2018, and she bought a BGS 9, and then I went and bought the BGS 9.5. The reason for that is because we're trying to build that whole set in BGS 9.5.
Yeah. Dang, dude.
You made that distinction after I bought the 9, though.
Yeah, because we want it all in 9.5.
After I bought.
Okay, Yoko.
So the one that Drake's talking about is I had the PSA 9 a 2007 Black X Fractor LeBron.
Yeah.
And then the PSA 10 came up, and it was like I thought a good price. It's a Pop 2, and I was like, man, I'm really interested in owning the Pop 2 of a card that I've never had a chance to own. I'll go for the upgrade. It just sort of happened. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm dying to have the PSA 10. If I had never gotten the 10, I'd be fine with it too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, yeah, good. Different strokes. Okay. Cardi C Sports Card says, what strategies do you have to pay off that credit card after picking up a huge PC card without cash in hand?
Oh my god, I do not recommend that strategy at all. Like, I have to turn my hat around into finance guy. That's a terrible strategy. What? No, not really wash, but like, no, credit cards. I don't want to have to do this. Credit cards are not for loans and putting things in credit. They are to earn points through MasterCard where you can actually make money using credit cards. That's my little financial tip. I'm done.
All right, but to actually try to answer the question.
Stop buying. No, pay off that credit card first. The interest rates are insane. Get control of your credit card debt.
Right. Yeah. No. I buy nothing on credit ever. So probably have a very low credit score.
I would love to know your credit score. You see, Christina probably like
0
has your credit score. Yeah.
So, all right. So, but here's the thing: if you do get into that predicament, then you consolidate, convert some of that PC into cash, and pay off that credit card.
There you go. Chris is like, buy more cards, but I have to be the one that's like the grown up in the room to be like, no, pay off your credit card. Double down, motherfucker. Buy more cards.
Yeah, what do you mean? Take out another credit card. Okay. The 615 collector says, can you consider yourself a collector if your collection fits in only one shoebox, or does it need to fill an entire room?
I mean, you're asking the person who
You're actually the
thinks
shoebox master.
You're asking the person who thinks if you have more than a shoebox, you're not a collector. Boom, there's your hot take.
What are you if you have more than a shoebox? A hoarder?
I didn't say it. You said it.
I'm asking. I'm not saying.
Oh, I don't know. It's just, that's just like my OCD. I actually have to get my collection into a shoebox or it's too big.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
No, of course. I don't think there's any limit to the actual size. I think you can be a collector any size.
Could you own only one card and be a collector?
I knew you were going to say that. What if it's a PSA 10 Mickey Mantle?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you can.
Okay. Fair enough. So if you maybe only own this card.
Well, like the term collecting kind of like implies more than one, so that maybe is your answer.
Yeah. Okay. CardMat5 says, why do some people cross out or black out serial numbers on slabs when they post their card?
I'm not sure there's a good reason. Just some people are more private than others. I mean, we do it on Card Ladder because we don't have permission to necessarily show that. And we just like to respect everyone's privacy, and maybe there is a good reason. Maybe those people have a reason. I don't know because I don't do it, so I don't really have an answer. Yeah,
good. And shout out to Rob. That's the old price, gracing our chat with his appearance. Lameme James was tagging you, man. We need to get Lameme back in here and see what he wanted. I don't know why he did that. Oh. Okay.
Well, there we go. Right, we got a little. Go ahead. Get your little. They should have their own little live in the chat.
Yeah, we can if they want to come live. Okay.
That's not what I
said. Always right. So, do we want to say anything more about people who black out the serial number? Like, sometimes people can be up to no good. Some people find it suspicious when that happens because, maybe they're posting pictures of a card they don't own, and that helps make it less traceable. It is a little suspicious, but, if you... yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. I like that you brought that up because the cert is, in my opinion, the best way to trace a card. I mean, the serial number on the card obviously is good too, but the cert is just like such a organized way to go look, especially like, going to the sites and looking it up. And PSA puts pictures on the site now, which I love.
Yeah.
I actually really love the new cert pages on PSA.
Yeah, me too.
Homer alert, employee alert.
Yeah.
But I just love that. I just love the documentation around it. So blocking it is like, man, you won't even let me go look at the cert page, and
Right.
it shows you the population higher. It's just got all these great details about it.
Yeah, no, totally. And like with right on. Hey, Rob here, but I was sort of like alluding this to you. Please just I'm Jewish doing this for one guy in the chat. Check this out, Rob.
He likes 101s.
Yeah, this is. I wouldn't do it for anybody else, but no one more than him will appreciate that. All right. So yeah. So okay. So also like with Beckett, when you look up stuff on theirs, they give you the date graded. Too.
I love that.
Yeah. So like, why are we hiding that from people? But people do like to be private too. It's tricky. It's really tricky. So
dude, you know what I would love? A cert page with the date graded, the picture, why it got that grade, a write up. Dude, I would just be in heaven if every card had that, because it's like, I like the organization. I used to be anti-grading and I was raw, but like all these these things sort of add up where I just love graded cards.
But you still have a place in your heart for raw.
I do, because I have binders,
And
but
for the
like
binder.
not for high end. It doesn't make any sense to me anymore. Actually, I'm like totally flipped. It makes no sense to me.
That's amazing. Okay, all right. The 615 collector again with many great questions this week, and they have a great podcast.
Drake too had great questions.
Drake had some excellent questions. He says, "Why doesn't Jimmy Butler get more hobby love?"
I'm still sticking to my theory. You sort of have jumped on this bandwagon a little bit with me, which is like, depending on when your rookie year was, how much hype you had behind you through like people that hoarded your stuff through like investment reasons or whatever it was. Jimmy Butler just like he was the 2012 with like Davis and Kyrie. It's maybe not as good of an answer. It doesn't quite line up, because 2012 has a lot of guys where people are like investing in stuff. It's not a good answer. Like 2017 is like in that black hole for me of like pre-2018 hype, and Tatum and Mitchell just never quite got the love because of the rookie class before all the hype beasts came in.
Yeah.
Butler, I'm not sure. I don't have a really good answer. Maybe it's like,
well, let's figure out. Does he not get hobby love? So look, what do you think? Butler's PSA 10 National Treasures RPA is a pop 1. Oh my god. What do you think it's worth? Because it sold 2.5 months ago.
I mean, dude, that's a pop 1. So like, no matter what number you're about to say, I'm gonna say that like Jimmy Butler doesn't get enough love. I don't know, $15K or something. It
sold for $4,600.
Yeah, dude. I mean, come on, that's like almost a joke.
All right, well let's
$4,600.
I'd like to take a look at Butler's resume.
That's just a card out for $4,600. Honestly, dude, that's another one of those cards. Like, I'll own that. Fine, fuck it. It's a PSA 10 pop 1. Sure, I'll own that card.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. All right, so here's Butler's resume in a nutshell: 6 times All-Star, 4-time All-NBA third team, 5-time All-NBA defensive second team.
Yeah.
Most improved player in 2015, and he led the league in steals once.
He's kind of like, he's like DeRozan to me, where it's like they're good, they're really good players, but like they're just sort of like perennially not quite good enough to make people interested. I'm not sure what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Can you help me out here?
Well, dude, Jimmy Butler went to an NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler had a 40-point triple-double in the NBA Finals.
So it stretched out to a Game 6.
Yeah, when he was severely overmatched.
Yes.
So he did. For some reason, my dad is very agnostic with respect to most things in general, but Jimmy Butler pisses him all the way off.
Why?
I don't know. I don't even remotely see it. I don't even remotely see what's so hateable about Jimmy Butler. Maybe it's like a Bulls thing or something. I don't know.
I actually can't figure this out. It's a total enigma to me. Him and DeRozan are the same to me in terms of like this discussion, where it's like they're really good players, but for some reason they just don't have any love. I don't know why.
Here, let me read you a different stat line. I'm sorry, a different career resume.
Okay.
Nick says it's because he was a Bull and he was beefing with Rose, but I think there's more to it than that, Nick.
He's had beef with several teams. He doesn't get along with anybody.
Yeah,
and he's admitted that.
76ers. Yeah, okay. All right, so here, check out this resume.
I don't think that's it, though. LeBron beefs with everybody. It's like...
12-time All-Star, All-Star Game MVP, 4-time All-NBA first team, 5-time second team, 7-time All-Defensive first team, rookie of the year, 5 times assist leader, 6 times steals leader. Who is that?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Chris Paul.
I was gonna just let me guess. I was gonna pretend to be surprised, and then I was gonna say Chris Paul because you said steals leader. You gave it away with the steals leader. Those are incredible stats.
Yeah, dude. I was looking at his resume today, just seeing if I had any shit I could talk when you were like, "I'm gonna make a rant," and I was like, "Nope, I don't."
What's his PER? Did you look it up?
Yes, 12th all time.
Okay, so he's moved down. I was texting my brother who doesn't know anything about cards, and he wants to get into cards, and I told him like. I was excited about tonight. I was like, I have some CP3 cards. Like, I'm excited. And he's like, man, that's why I want to do Booker because I just can't get to the level of investing in Hall of Famers like you do. And I was like, dude, Booker's way more expensive than CP3. You don't, like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you don't understand how the game of cards works. It's not necessarily just, like, stats and accolades. It's about, like, hype. Mm-hmm. Like, Booker's stuff is 3 times as expensive as CP3. And you just read off the accolades of, like, it's crazy when you read those off. Those are nuts. Those are insane numbers. Like, who else can line up with that shit? You read Butler's, and it's like third team. Ooh.
No. I was so ready to talk junk about how many first teams he was on.
Is that why you did that thing to me when I said I'm ready to rant? You were ready to come back at me? Like, I know CP3 stats.
I mean, dude, some of these guys' resumes just really need to be told. For both reasons. One, because some guys' resumes just aren't really that great, even though it seems like they should be. And then other guys.
That's your argument for Butler? Is that his resume is not that great?
I don't think his resume is that great. No.
Okay, so is DeRozan like a similar meh?
Let's see. But I find Jimmy Butler to be uniquely collectible. I think that guy's going to get to the playoffs every year. Yeah. This year they have a legitimate chance to go to the finals. They're definitely they're the number 1 seed in the East. Like, you could do a lot worse than collecting Jimmy Butler. And
you know how people are like, that guy's just a winner. That's Butler to me. Where it's like, he's just always on a winning team.
Yeah. No, I find Jimmy Butler to be collectible, and dude, don't let him mess around and win a title in Miami, and get Finals MVP. You know, all of a sudden then. That guy's in a different ballpark.
You're just really trying to boost my ego of how much I love Chris Paul. You did a really nice job there.
Dude, what did I always say? I don't argue things usually unless I have slam dunk.
Dude, that makes my ego so much better that you're like, I wanted to slam you, but I looked at his stats, I was like, I can't.
I couldn't do it. No, I could not do it. I was like, dude, I can't go against this resume. He led the league in assists and steals 11 different times combined. It's just I can't go against it.
People seem to forget those Clipper years. He was one of the best players in the league, almost every year. He made the Lakers kind of a joke for a few years, the Clippers, because of him. Mm-hmm. And he just couldn't quite. I mean, the whole thing with him is he just couldn't get to the finals. He couldn't quite win a championship. You know,
100%. Robin wants us to read MJ's stats.
Oh my God, his are bananas. I don't want you to read them because it's it makes everyone else look so stupid.
We only have an hour and a half left, so I don't think.
Well, so here's my thing about the MJ stuff, is and this is going to be an anti-Kobe thing. So sorry, everyone, brace yourself. Where it's guys, Kobe and Jordan both have this thing about them. They're very similar in that they have this aura around them that they're just cutthroat killers, right? Or they're just they'll do anything to win, and they're just obsessed. They're gym rats, whatever you want to say. And I feel like there's quite a few players that have that stigma around them, but Jordan also has the best stats ever. It's his stats, his accolades, his averages, his PER, his win shares, every single stat is the best of all. And you're just how is this possible that he literally has everything going for him, and he has the best autograph, and he has the best marketing of all time, and he like made Nike a thing, and just like, oh my God, what does he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. That's why, like, kind of just looking at read Lucas' playoff resume. Okay, all right. Why do you always got to go to that?
Ooh, what's that? The emoji was like the ooh.
So, yeah, and like, fuck, that made me lose my train of thought.
Michael Jordan's stats and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like a random stat, 10 scoring titles.
You know how you're like, I don't want to get into an argument if I know if I can't win. That's why when people bait me into the LeBron versus Jordan thing, I'm like, pass. Like, I'm good. Because you guys are just going to destroy me with win shares and all that shit.
10 scoring titles, just.
All I have is VORP. I love VORP because it's all I have. And LeBron is the best VORP of all time, but Jordan crushes him on everything else. And it's like, oh, LeBron is like a better rebounder and assists. Yeah, great. But like Jordan affects the game better at every advanced statistic.
Yeah. We have questions about statistics a little bit later, but.
Do you know anything about that? Tell us about the Lefko thing. What happened today?
Oh, well, dude, Lefko.
He perks up.
Lefko.
Oh.
That was like a snowball slowly rolling down a hill, picking up steam. Like every time I make a pro Jokic post or like Jokic is going to win the MVP, and then like the tracker came out, and it must have felt from his point of view like I was just trolling him incessantly because he's a huge 76ers fan.
Right.
And it's very unfortunate for them because Embiid was leading the odds to win MVP all season long, and then it flipped in like the last 2 weeks.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, he came back and he was like, look, he's like, yeah, guess what? You know, he posted Embiid's game-winning shot over Toronto, and he was like, this is an MVP-level shot. And
that clock started late. The clock started late. No one's talking about that.
Stop talking about that. The clock did start late.
And also, Nick Nurse, what the fuck are you doing? Why is there nobody on the inbounder? Embiid gets a clean. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Plus, Embiid was 0 of 14 on game-winning shots before that.
Forget about that. Clutch.
So, I'm very happy for him to get that shot. And, that's it. You know, he just he fired back. And, look, he did it right. You know, he waited. He waited until 76ers went up 3-0, yeah. Nuggets went down 0-3, and he was like, you can't come back to this. Boom. I have the slam dunk argument.
Can I give you a little bit of – I'll start the Nuggets thing. The rest of that team is so bad. And I said this all season. Jokic won the MVP because he literally somehow got that trash team to a 6 seed. Okay. What I was going to say is I have a bone to pick with you, and you've been doing this lately, and you've been pissing me off.
Let's go. I already know what it is. Let's go.
Giannis. I don't understand what your thing is with Giannis right now.
Giannis. Oh, okay.
And it's really annoying.
Yeah. No, I mean, look.
I'm going to give you – can I give you my little backup?
Yeah,
and you can respond to that.
Let's hear the case for Giannis.
I don't need to make a case because you have done this thing very, very elegantly, which I enjoy, where you get mad at the media for shitting on international players. Mm-hmm. And you feel like the media doesn't give these guys a proper chance. They should be building the stories up. And then you use Giannis and diminish him to make your Jokic case, and I don't like it.
That's completely acceptable. But, look, it's me reacting, not proacting. It's me reacting to the onslaught of media members who diminish Jokic's MVP season by saying either Giannis was better than him this year, which he wasn't, or that Embiid was better than him this year, which he also wasn't. So both those guys are in my scope right now as being overrated because many people are saying they had a better season than Jokic, and in no world is that true. They
overrated.
Look, I can't argue with somebody who says, well, Giannis is actually the better player. Okay, fine. I can't argue with that. But in no world did he have a better season than Nikola Jokic.
So he's overrated in a very like very
It's very
specific
small way.
context.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Can you just say that on the air?
Yes. All right. I will make sure to clarify that.
Because I really like the Giannis story. I think it's one of my favorite stories of like his, him and his brothers and just like his personality and the way he carries himself and
Yeah.
his work ethic on the court.
And
I really don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's awesome, dude. And like my hobby take, Giannis, with all due respect to all the other teams, all the other players, Giannis is probably the best player for the hobby to win a title this year.
He won it last year.
I know, and winning it again this year, dude, all of a sudden, that means we have a guy who's like 28 or 29 years old. I'm not sure I think he's 28 next year or something. That means all of a sudden we have in our midst with like 5+ years of physical prime probably left with a guy like him because he's just in such good shape. Like we are there, then we are collecting a legitimate top 15 all-time player through the absolute prime of his career while he's dominating. And like that, there's nothing better for the hobby than
And he's international.
Yes.
I think he can be the guy to bridge the gap between collectors in the U.S., international players. He just like, I feel like he's a really, to your point, you just said it, he's very important to the hobby.
Yes.
And I just think it's up to us to build him up.
Yeah. Giannis is great, man. And like he would be the one to, if I could just like pick one player for the well-being of the hobby to win the title this year, I'm taking the Bucks. I'm taking Giannis. So
Can Chris Paul just have one, just please, for the Suns?
Sure.
Just let me have one.
That's completely fine. Giannis can.
But also, I think I was going to say for you, I do think Luka winning a championship would be huge for the hobby.
Yeah, it would. I agree. Morant's winning a championship would be Burrow-esque.
No, it would throw advanced analytics out. No, that's too far. You've gone too far. I'm actually.
Curry winning another title. I'll throw that one out there.
I want to do the Timberwolves thing. Let's just go through the games. When do you get to the questions? The games are just so fascinating to me. The Timberwolves one is just like the juiciest. Just let me squeeze that.
Let's go. Talk about it. All right, we'll tee it off with this. Mostly 90s basketball cards said pick one to collect and only one. Ben Simmons or Karl-Anthony Towns.
God, dude. I don't like overreacting, and I listen to the Bill Simmons podcast every day now because he almost does like one daily, and I love his during the playoffs. But he did it, so I'm going to follow suit.
Dude, his
he
takes this playoffs, by the way, not been very good. His takes for the second half of the season and the playoffs, not my favorite.
I know. He was ready to crown Anthony Edwards, and then now he's like, they suck.
And
like,
John Morant,
make up your mind.
He was ready to crown him, too.
Anthony Edwards, I'm done. I'm sorry, Karl-Anthony Towns, I'm done. That was so pathetic. 4 shots? How is that even possible? That's like, how is that physically possible to be the second best player on the team and have 4 shots? That's not possible. Jay Crowder had 7 shots, and the guy can't fucking make anything. And post-game was so bad. He's like, next question, going home and drink. Do you even care? And it's like, Anthony Edwards, deer in headlights. He's 20 years old, man. This is his first run. Karl Towns, come on, man. You're in your prime. This is like your prime time. This is like Joel Embiid, Jokic, Giannis years. Let's go.
That's
you
right.
don't even care.
Dude.
Maybe he just doesn't care, and I just, I don't want to shit on a guy who doesn't care, and if that's the way it is, whatever. But, like, damn, dude.
They blew 2 25-point leads in the same game.
And John Morant was fucking terrible, and they still came back.
Yeah.
Morant was like 5 of 18.
And, like, the Grizzlies made a really nice adjustment. They took Steven Adams out of the starting lineup.
Bill Simmons called that, by the way.
Yep, and that was an amazing adjustment. And still, though, like, dude, don't you just want to root for the Timberwolves so much?
No, not anymore.
D'Angelo Russell, I just like that guy. I don't know why.
I don't like D'Angelo. No.
Oh, why? He's like he's got like a little James Harden to him that I like in like the good way. Just like this guy might pop a 3 in your eye at any time, and it's a scary thing to go against.
He's too much flash and not enough substance for me.
Yeah,
he's like not great with the advanced analytics, and it just like Towns, man, that was so bad. I just like All it takes is one game for me. I mean, it's been building up, but I'm like, God,
You
that
need
was so
100 good
bad.
games to impress Josh, but one bad game, and you.
I just need like many, many showers after watching all that ensue. Like, God damn, Towns, you didn't do shit in that game.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, look, dude, the Timberwolves blew their opportunity to take home court advantage and hold it. You
They
know,
can still tie the series.
they can tie the series, but they lost home court advantage.
Yeah, that's okay.
I guess so.
I mean,
Damn.
it's basically like Pat Bev, looked bad, but he's Pat Bev. Carl Towns looked. Pat Bev was the one shooting the shots at the end. Come on, Towns, demand the ball, do something, man, anything. And the other one was the 21-0 run where the coach didn't call a timeout. That's pretty egregious.
God, that's oof, dude. Like those runs can just happen so fast, too.
I was thinking about those runs today, watching Jay Crowder miss every shot, and then like when you score, it increases your odds of getting a stop. So like that's why there's so many runs in the NBA. Is like scoring actually lends itself to you getting more stops because you get half court set defense and etc.
Yeah.
And that's why when the runs start, you have to call a timeout to break that up. You got to like call the timeout. It's not even like I don't trust my guys. I think they're bad. No, it's like a strategic thing that's like it will actually help your odds if you call the timeout. And he didn't do it. It's like, come on.
Fair enough. All right, let's go on to another series. How irritating / infuriating was it when Trae Young's little messy floater clanked around the rim before dropping in to give the Hawks a 1-point victory over the Heat?
I love that, like, people are going to go to Trae Young was clutch. He had a bad game still. He didn't even play that good. He had like 8 points at halftime again. The Heat are going to win this series. It doesn't matter. Sure, give them some hope just to make it even sweeter when they lose.
All right, yeah, I haven't watched a single game in that series, so I can't comment.
Kyle Lowry, though, did hurt his hamstring, so that could be something to watch.
Okay, yeah. Dude, so many injuries. It's actually...
I wanted to do one more stat that I forgot.
Yeah.
Bill Simmons brought this up, and I thought it was fascinating. Would you rather have the Warriors' 5th best through 10th best players?
For the Nuggets, 2nd through 6th. Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I'd rather have the Warriors.
Yeah.
Like Kuminga, Otto Porter, Wiggins, and Bielitsa, or Monte Morris, like whoever the fuck is in there. Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is so bad. I know you're trying to defend him, but he's terrible.
He shouldn't be as bad as he's been in the playoffs, except for he was okay in Game 3. He just shouldn't be that bad. Like, he had games in the regular season where he put up 20 points and a half. Like,
yeah, when I was watching the series last year against the Suns in the playoffs, I was like, please leave Aaron Gordon in the game because it's just much better for the Suns.
Yeah. All right, let's do the Warriors-Nuggets series then, since we're talking about that. So, first of all, seeing Jordan Poole in person and not just seeing him shoot during the game, but seeing him shoot in warm-ups, seeing him shoot from 40 feet after a play is blown dead, seeing him shoot free throws. Free throws are a decent predictor of how good of a shooter a player is. Right. And Poole is like top 3 in the league in free throw percentage. This guy can shoot. It's silly. It doesn't make sense that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, 2 of the greatest shooters of all time, should just inherit this next guy who shoots over 90% from free throws.
It's annoying.
It's like over 60% on field goals and on threes in the playoffs. But Jordan Poole, he's an actual shooter. He can shoot the damn rock, dude.
It's annoying that, as someone that's rooting against the Warriors, because that's just how, after all these LeBron years, I have no choice, that, those guys would just get him at the 28th pick, and he's just, as good at, it's like right now he looks as good as, he's another Splash Brother. It's like, oh my God, they got 3 of them now. What the fuck?
He's also, as annoying as the other 2 as well, if you're rooting against him.
He's doing the credit card swipe up Jokic's butt.
Yeah.
Good.
And then from the Nuggets side, they got creamed in the first 2 games. They were competitive in the third, but still lost.
Clutch time, yeah.
I mean, just in defense of Jokic, who was a minus 45 combined in the first two games, which is the worst on the entire team. In game 3, he did what he was supposed to do. 37 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and he was a +3. He did what he was supposed to do. He took
Aren't
care
you
of
like
defense.
Aren't you like, where are all my haters destroying me with this minus 45? Where are you guys? Like, I was waiting for someone to come at this. Like, go get Chris. This is your only chance.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe if I want to give them a lot of credit, like over the long run, they will lose the plus minus argument, so they'd rather just not make themselves susceptible to it right now. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing with this is like, the Nuggets are clearly outmatched. I just would love to see Jokic get one game as the MVP. Like, it just bothers me, and it's not that great of a look that he's going to get swept. Potentially. He hasn't been swept. I don't want to say that. He hasn't been swept yet, but it's like, just get one, man. You're the MVP.
I agree. I would love it for them to get one. You could just feel his family going through it, at the game. Like, God, you just want him to get that one. And just watching him play, God, it was so
You know what I was thinking,
magical.
dude?
That guy is so sick. He, like, in person, it's very impressive what that dude does.
Just picture, like, I can, like, rattle off teams to you, and I'll just, like, tell you the players that they would be missing that are related to Murray and MPJ.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, how would the Sixers look without Maxey and, Harris or something? Not good. How would the Heat look without Butler? It's like, I could just go through teams
How would the Milwaukee Bucks
without Bridges and Booker.
Yeah.
It gets bad.
take away Middleton and
Right.
Holiday?
Right. It's bad. It's like, but the Bucks won by 30 without Middleton.
They did.
I think the Bulls suck. Just like, I know that you are.
Dude, the Bulls made it competitive in the first two games. It's total Bulls to just get blown out in their first home game, and also
by 30,
and also give up their opportunity to have home court advantage with a team that just lost its second best player.
Oh, that's what it was today. Today you were
totally.
like, this morning on our podcast, I was like, Middleton's out, and I made this whole great thing, and you were like, here come the excuses. And I was like, motherfucker, excuses? Your whole Nuggets team is built with excuses and all these injuries.
Yeah.
No. And then they won by 30.
Well, and they did, and all credit to them. Like, great win by that team. But, yeah, I'm not going to stand – like, look, if there's a consistency, great. So we'll just put it there. Like, teams are going to get excuses. Like, if teams get if excuses are applicable across the board, then great. All good.
Dude, let's not forget, though, I'm going to get your back. I always got your back, Chris. Jamal Murray was fucking amazing in that bubble. MPJ is growing to be one of the best players on the team. It's just like, what are you supposed to do?
Dude, I've got an MPJ stick. Because a lot of people are like, why did Michael Porter Jr. get a max extension, especially with the back injuries and stuff? Like,
people forget so quick some of this stuff.
Dude, let me give you a stat about Michael Porter Jr. All right. So, Michael Porter Jr.'s effective field goal percentage was 64.6. That's the highest in an NBA season for a player averaging at least 19 points per game, next to only one Wilt Chamberlain season. Like, Michael Porter Jr. is scoring at such a ridiculously efficient.
He can shoot, man.
He
can shoot.
Yeah, he's 6'10". He was out there warming up, and the guy is gigantic. The guy is just absolutely gigantic.
He reminds me of Brandon Ingram, where it's like, you're not blocking the shot. Like, he's going to shoot it. Durant has the same thing. You're not blocking their shot because they're so tall and they've got a high release. And it's just like, are they going to make it or miss,
Totally. I do think, like, Jokic actually broke that effective field goal percentage record this season.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I know that number.
Just go ahead and, hey, Lefko, here we go.
Porter is very good. Jamal Murray has one of the highest game scores in a playoff game in NBA history.
He was awesome in that bubble.
And like, everybody talks about how good Mitchell was, but Murray had a better game than any of the games Mitchell played.
out-dueled Mitchell in that game. Oh, can we go to the Jazz series and
Let's go
Mavs?
to Jazz. Let's go to Jazz. We did have some questions about that one, so let me just acknowledge those.
Ding take.
The Ricky Pulido says, "Are the Mavs that good, or does Utah just suck?"
Dude.
Jordan Cards 41 says, "Please discuss why the Jazz deserve to be relegated to the G League."
Dude. Wait, okay, it's a combination of you, like, I've heard your take on the Jazz being like, they have the best record in the NBA and they're advancing. Like, oh my God, let me just shred the Jazz because I do not like the Jazz. It's no secret I don't like them. And Bill Simmons just gives me the confidence. I listened to his pod. He said, and I love it. He said that Donovan Mitchell is CJ McCollum with better PR, and I couldn't agree more. Like, his stats are the exact same as CJ McCollum. He just has, like, a much bigger name. And, dude, South Park keeps talking about how he won't pass to Gobert. It's seriously a thing. He will not pass the ball to Rudy Gobert. They're the weirdest team. Like, they have all the best advanced analytics, but, like, when the playoffs hit, they just melt. They're like, I can't do this.
They do, man. And, like, last year when Kawhi Leonard went out and they had that series, that round 2 series in their sights, and the Clippers busted their ass 2-0 without Kawhi. And it's like the same thing's happening right now with the Mavs.
I made the joke that, like, because I've been, you had the Morant thing all year, so I had to get that joke in there. Obviously,
it was good.
I was kidding. It's a total joke. I actually think it's more so the Jazz being terrible than the Mavs, reserves playing good. I think the Jazz are just totally melting down. Like, Mitchell is bad in this series.
Their defense, like, struck. And, like, maybe Quinn Snyder needs to take a little heat, too, because something about their defense is not working properly, despite having maybe the best defender in the NBA. And, dude, but Jalen Brunson through Game 2 and Game 3, 72 points and 1 turnover.
You know what I'm going to need from you? I'm going to need a public apology from you about Jason Kidd because he is coaching like a motherfucker.
Dude, all of it. All public apologies are just flowing. Jason Kidd.
He's fucking, like, coaching up a storm.
Dude, Jason Kidd is the man. He's coaching on all levels. He's got the players all on the same page. They're all buying in. And he's got the X's and O's guy, Sean Sweeney, as his defensive coordinator. The schemes, the schemes that they dial up are amazing. These guys are holding a super elite offense to low point totals, except for Game 3. It's super impressive. So much credit to the coaching staff. Well done.
The whole thing about coaching in the playoffs to me is when you find something, like you can exploit something or you have some mismatch, is that you just fucking hammer that thing over and over, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
And all he's doing, it's very simple. He's not putting anyone in the paint. He's making Gobert completely useless. He's just sticking people in the corners. Kleber's wide open all day long. He's just having his 2 point guards penetrate, get into the paint, either score or dish. It's simple over and over and over, and it works every fucking time. And Quinn Snyder refuses to go off of what works in the regular season, and that's what's happening to me, is that he's like, no, I got to have Gobert out there. Gobert's in the paint, and they're just like wide open threes in the corners.
Yeah. And they are making them, too. Like, the Mavs shot, like, 46% on, like, 53-point.
Kleber's, like, 13 of 20 or something. It's like
Yeah. So, like, that's like the Utah averages, like, something like 40-something threes per game in the regular season. They've only been taking, like, 25 during the series. Like, that's a total testament to the Mavs' defensive schemes.
Yeah.
And then, like, but, dude, like, there was this rap about Maxi Kleber that, hey, he doesn't play so great in the playoffs. Well, in Game 2, he made 8 of 11 from 3, and in Game 3, he was like 5 of 6 from 3.
Dude, he's winning. Dude, Russillo has my favorite take on this, where he's like, and this is what happened to the Pelicans in Game 2, where it's like, dude, you can have all the schemes, you can have the players. Sometimes one team just makes a shit ton of threes in the game, and it just happens.
And that's why, like, the Mavs were up 2-0 and had a 30-point lead in Game 3 against the Clippers, and
I remember that.
And they still lost. So that's why, like, this Mavs overconfidence right now, I like it. I'm leaning into it, but just hold on, because
the Jazz are still a good team.
The job ain't done.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the the three ball is the great neutralizer, and you could just like say like, oh, it's about like how hard you work. All these teams work really hard. They've all got great scouts and analytics and schemes and everything. Like every team has good players. Sometimes you just hit a bunch of threes and you win the game. And I'm not trying to diminish the Mavs because I think it mostly is like a scheming, like they're out scheming the Jazz, they're beating them. But sometimes you just hit a bunch of threes, and it's possible the Jazz start making threes and the Mavs don't. Like it could switch.
Totally. All right. Do you want to touch on any?
You look like you're triggered by something in the comments.
Me?
Yeah, you like looked at something in the comments weird.
Oh no, I was just laughing at Julian. He says, "How did he become the stat guy on Clubhouse?" Not a high bar, Julian. Okay.
Roll. Let's just go through all the series. Like we're killing.
I'm looking at. I have the scores pulled up. It's like, do you want to touch any more on the Suns Pelicans? We touched on that a bit.
I think that I feel the same as you with the Mavs, where I'm like, I don't feel comfortable yet. Like people in the media are like, they're going to win Series 1, rest Booker and all this, and I'm like, dude, you still have to play these games, and like Brandon Ingram and McCollum can win you games. Like they could have won the game easily tonight if Paul doesn't make 5 straight jumpers.
Yep, and dude, that's actually been what has won Phoenix both games.
Is Chris Paul going insane in the fourth quarter? Like he literally, yeah, you're right.
Don't worry about it, Jordan.
Also, here's another spicy take. The Nets were up big in the second half of Game 2, and the Celtics hit a game winner. If he misses and they lose, it's like people are so insane. They're like, the Celtics are dominating. They're clearly the better team. And it's like, dude, literally they're like one play away from being tied 1-1 or a few plays of being down 0-2.
Well said. But a lot of pressure on Brooklyn. So let's just hit the Boston-Brooklyn series really quick. My take has been if Brooklyn won either of those first 2 games, they would be comfortably in control, but they didn't. And it's partially due to the fact that Kevin Durant has been scoring at a highly inefficient clip. And so now the series goes back to Boston. It goes to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is down 0-2. And if Boston wins one of those games, I'm calling it. That series is over. So Brooklyn better win both of those home games.
Aren't you the guy that said we're gonna make this big old bet about Brooklyn versus Milwaukee and you're bailing?
No, I'm not bailing. Like that, I have to stay true to that bet.
Dude, I think that the Nets are far from over in this series. I think it's close. I still think it's going 7.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it is close. All I'm saying is the margin for error went from this to this to this.
Yeah, you can't make mistakes anymore.
No.
But a Durant 40 burger is coming, and it's like I actually have always been a big anti-Durant guy, but like the hate right now and I'm ready to be like, fuck you, Durant's going for 40 tonight, and I'm gonna be rooting for it.
What about Kyrie?
Nah, let's not get crazy here.
I knew it. Yeah, okay.
Guys shoveling bananas at halftime. It's like,
okay.
It's always something. Like, can you imagine being on that team and being like, oh my god, what is it today? Like, what is your thing today? Oh my gosh, you can't.
Does Ben Simmons coming back matter to you?
Oh my god, no, dude, come on. That dude is no. I had another take. Bill Simmons, dude, chill out about Jason Tatum. Like, literally, no matter what you say on his podcast, if you're a guest, he'll be like, oh, that reminds me of what Tatum just did. I'm like, what? Chill out. Tatum is playing great. He's fantastic. I would love it. But, man, that dude loves Tatum.
Yeah, he does.
It's like if I was like, every other take you gave, I was like, but LeBron did that before.
Yeah, right. Well, let's talk about Tatum for a minute, basketball-wise, hobby-wise.
Sure.
Tatum is going to make first-team All-NBA this year, it looks like, first time ever. And,
Defense.
Best player on the best team in the Eastern Conference for the last 3 months.
Yep.
Super good advanced analytics, great plus-minus.
Yep.
Is the Tatum ascension coming? Are we going to hear Tatum face of the league talk soon? Is he going to become the face of the hobby even? Could he have like a Giannis moment?
You and I love looking at like the under 25 rankings and stuff.
Yeah.
And you and I have both been like, it's Luka and Tatum and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've been saying that for a while. And what's impressed me most about him is he's guarding Durant.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my whole thing with Mitchell. Is Mitchell's like afraid of defense? I don't know if he's afraid of it, but like he's not. Well, he's not guarding the best player. He's just like all offense. But Tatum is doing both.
No, the Mavericks purposely run screen and
They said
rolls to get
Kid
Mitchell.
said it.
Yeah.
Kid was like, "We're going after you, dude." That shit ain't happening to Tatum.
Yeah, exactly. Julian says, his NT Gold RPA BGS 9.5 Auto 10 just sold for $192K.
Yeah, talk about his prices. Like, where do you think he lines up sort of where maybe, in my opinion, he should be given his age and like how the hobby loves these young guys and hype them up? I just feel like for some reason, like given what I know about Zion and Ja, like why isn't Tatum getting that?
Yeah, you have
Or is he?
No, you have to say consistency requires pointing out that there is an illogical discrepancy between Tatum's prices and the prices of everybody else. Luka, Zion, Trey, Morant. Logic requires pointing that out. Like, dude, Tatum's Optic Gold BGS 9.5 sold a weekend or two ago, and I was keeping a little eye on that. Like, let me just pull this thing up. This is his rookie 2017 Optic Gold and a BGS 9.5, and it sold April 16th, so 6 days ago. What do you think it sold for? Gem Mint, Optic Gold, Tatum.
2016, the first year of Optic?
No, 2017.
2017. Oh, that's the weird year. I'm guessing that what you're saying to me is that it's like, why is this so low?
Yeah.
Like $9,000.
13.2.
Yeah, it's like, and what Trey or like Luka's Optic though is like, I always thought Optic was like kind of low compared to everything else, but that does seem low.
Yeah, that seems low. It's like Morant's is probably worth $42,000, $45,000, because like the only sale of a BGS 9.5 was $7,200 in the summer of 2020. So like the Morant index says that's worth $42,000. Let me see if I can find like Trey.
I want to do the Ja Morant BGS 9 NTRPA rant so bad. Like, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, so yeah. So, all right, the Trey is like around $10,000. Okay. The Tatum's more than the Trey. Like, the Trey sold 2 weeks ago for $9,000, and his market has picked up quite a bit since then, but...
What did that gold Tatum sell for, the 9.5?
The NT?
Yeah.
$192.
And the Ja Morant 99 BGS 9 sells for over $100.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, so like, look, I mean, I guess actually like looking at this Optic Gold stuff, maybe it's not so crazy, but...
So it's like the equivalent of like a Bowman Gold LeBron or something, which, sells for a shit ton.
Yeah, I just...
Are we about to collect Tatum? Is that what you're saying?
Well, look, it's so funny that I'm going to be this guy. Tatum doesn't satisfy the eye test for me.
I'll have to go what the...
I don't love watching Tatum play right now. So, that's my reservation.
How many games have you watched? Because you said the same thing about Jokic until you started watching it.
That's true. I don't know. The only, I watched the full Celtics game against the Mavs, and I've watched good chunks of the games against the Nets. And, that's what I'm saying, though. There's so many arguments in favor of Tatum, but I've never watched him and just been like, oh, man, I'd love to collect that guy. It's just my take. Don't kill me for it. It's just my point of view. I'd like it more of Tatum. Like, I like guys who are true. Like, I like heliocentric players. I like watching James Harden play. Peak James Harden, I enjoyed watching him play. Many people didn't like watching James Harden play. I liked watching him play. And Tatum is more of like an off-ball player right now. So
Can I back you up?
Go for it.
Game 1, in the fourth quarter, I was like, where the fuck is Tatum?
Yeah.
And then he hit the game winner, and it was like, all is forgiven. And I was like, not for me. That was the only play. That was the only basket he made in the fourth quarter. And it was the only time where I'm like, there he is. It was just really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's my only reservation about Tatum. But like, even like guys like Kawhi, like those guys will dominate the hell out of a game. Like a 35-point game from Kawhi feels like he just suffocated you if you're on the other team. A 35-point game from Tatum might be like, oh, I didn't even know that, wow, he got 35.
That's a good point. It does feel. I feel like a lot of that's his age.
Yeah. He's so young.
Like
he's 20. He's in his age 24 season.
Yeah, I feel like Kawhi he just feels like that veteran that's just like you said, suffocates. It's like, oh my God, Kawhi's just killing us right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I miss Kawhi, by the way. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's just so freaking good.
The Western Conference does not have LeBron in the playoffs, AD, Kawhi, Paul George. It's
Damian Lillard,
Jamal Murray. Dude, next year, the West is going to be so loaded. To avoid the play-in game, you're going to have to be so good. You're going to have to be so good.
Dude, the fact that like Brandon Ingram is like can't get any love, and he's like, you know what I mean? Like the level of skill is just so good.
The West is going to be so brutal next year that like, yeah, I'm very glad Luka's coming back tomorrow because like this isn't supposed to be their year yet. They still have many moves to make over the next 2-3 seasons. Like the roster is halfway there based on the front office's plans, but this is a year of any year to do it because you will never get this clear of a path again.
Oh, by the way, maybe the best move of the entire season is getting rid of Porzingis and replacing it with Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
Huge. So huge.
Because Porzingis is like a big name where you have to play him, and it's just like it's just not working. And Dinwiddie's a much better plus minus. It's just like it makes more sense.
Dinwiddie's been really good since he joined the Mavs. He actually has not been very good in this Jazz series, but he's had moments. He's definitely had moments.
He hit like the dagger 3.
Yeah, game 3 was his best game by far. Games 1 and 2 not so great, but and they also got Bertans in that trade as well. And Bertans was a killer yesterday. He also had an amazing game 3.
Yeah. Just getting rid of Porzingis was the best part.
Yes, I totally agree. Just getting rid of him has liberated this team. It's liberated the coaching staff. That was a huge thing. All right. Nice little hour of NBA content.
That's it. I feel like did we miss a series? Like, are we?
We didn't talk about Sixers, Raptors much.
It's over.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We got them all.
Okay. Want to just like rapid fire a few questions here?
Yeah, collector questions, cards. Let's talk about
cards. All right. Cardboard Insight says, speaking of numbered 90s cards, is there a safe percentage to assume no longer exist?
Ooh, that's a good question. With like Panini, like Prism and Gold, it's like the percentage is 0, and 90s it's not 0. That's the important thing to point out. I don't know, like 20%, 30%.
Yes, some pop reports suggest it's higher than that because.
No, I know it's been conservative.
Yeah, that's conservative because like a lot of 90s inserts have like many more like Hot Shots we know has a print run of like 675, and maybe like half of that print run can be accounted for. I used to know these numbers much better than I do now. Like a decent percentage of the pop report across the grading companies can account for the print run. So even though that's not a serial numbered card, you can calculate the print run by going backwards from the pack odds in the serial numbered insert ratios. So when you have like a card like Slam Bams or High Voltage 500, which have like such a small percentage of the population graded, it certainly seems like there's nowhere near the number in circulation that is stamped on the card.
We can just do this math. It's like how many of the Gold Prism Flashback LeBrons are graded, and it's like all 10.
Like 12.
Like I feel like I've seen. Yeah. And then it's like High Voltage serial number to 500. There's like 20. It's like just do the math. Can be done. Like someone can do this research.
Totally. All right. Card Sham Card says, do you prefer a rare insert or a rare parallel?
Parallel. I can't say it enough.
Yep, me too. Upstate Sports Cards says, hey, who are some good 90s baseball and football content creators? It's like I put this in my story. A couple people commented. Somebody gave a shout out to Joey Peapod.
Nice.
I know Jake 90s B-ball cards and Kyle Wax Museum will touch on 90s baseball and football products. And in fact, they recently put an episode out together that touched on some of them too. Because we're not talking about basketball, baseball and football, late 90s stuff. Because that stuff's having a moment, is quietly having a moment right now.
You've been on the baseball 90s stuff, especially with Griffey, and it's someone's got to document this shit because it's happening. Exactly.
I don't collect any of it. I don't collect any 90s football or any 90s baseball, but I am seeing in the data and hearing from collectors that it is hot. That stuff is really doing well.
Does Brett talk about 90s football?
He might. He to the extent that Peyton Manning is involved. Peyton was a rookie in '98, so
yeah. I'm okay with the fact that we only talk about basketball. I sleep well knowing that that's the fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
No, we stick to what we like and what we know.
It's more genuine. I'm not trying to freaking pump soccer and wrestling because I don't watch it.
Exactly. We also like to talk football too. Football is a different type of fun. Like when that season's on, yeah.
Football and basketball. I mean, it's come on. There's a reason those are the two most popular. It's because they're better, and those are the ones we watch.
Totally. All right. So R. Stu Card says the new crop of collectors and content rarely mentions PSA's set registry. It seems to be off the radar for most that entered into the hobby since 2018, and is known as more of a thing for vintage collectors. But why don't we hear about it? Is it too vintage oriented? Is there a lack of awareness? Do cards change hands too quickly? And will the PSA set registry matter to newer collectors? What needs to happen? Do we need cheaper grading? Do we need better products for the PSA set registry to become relevant again?
Well, I think you're going to have the same answer as me, but I just think that sports in general, and you gave this take earlier today, I'm going to steal it, sports and cards specifically have oriented themselves more around players than they have traditional teams, and then I relate teams to sets for cards. People just want to latch on to the players more now, and maybe the name set registry is what's hurting it. Is people are oh, it's about sets, and it's not necessarily just about sets. It actually is. You can do player collecting in the set registry, and you can get scores based on players. I don't know, maybe just a lack of awareness at this point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and plus set registry is just a really different way to show off your collection and to show what you have. And one of the other things that has happened since 2018 is, card collectors taking place in social media as the preferred venue to share their cards. I probably has eaten into some of PSA set registry's appeal. Where are you going to first post and share your card? You're going to Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, so that's the thing. But set registry is a really neat offering from PSA. It's a great way. It's another great avenue to show off what you have, and it provides a unique way to sort of measure and calculate what you have and take stock of where your collection might be headed. So
yeah, I know the people that are in the registry love it.
Yes. Yeah. And
I've never heard someone be oh, the registry stinks. I wish it was this. People that use it actually like it.
No, there's a widespread belief among certain segments of the hobby that PSA set registry explains the price gap between all the other grading companies and PSA.
I agree with that. I mean, that was actually a big reason for why PSA is outpacing BGS 3 or 4 years ago. That was actually I heard that the most as the reason. Be oh, because we love the registry. And it's well, Beckett has a pop report, and it's yeah, but the registry just gives it that little bit of extra juice. And now, obviously, the tech of I'll use us as an example, Card Ladder, and the way you manage collections is different than the way registry does it traditionally. So I'm hearing that less, but I know that the people that use it still are very ingrained in it and love it.
Yeah. Yeah. you can never have enough avenues to share your cards. You know,
That's right.
you can't. Yeah. For those of you who haven't put your cards in a Card Ladder Showcase yet, like throw them in there. It's great. Card Ladder Showcase presents cards in a way that no other platform does. You can see your cards amidst this sea of many other great cards. And
Why'd you pin this comment? Is that the best comment of the night?
I just liked it because it was like usually
I did too.
Usually at this hour, sometimes we start getting those real snarky comments, like just hating on everything we say. But this individual actually gave us like a nice little like, yeah, it's okay. You guys don't talk about baseball. You know, the show is called The Crossover, not The Strikeout. That is the comment.
Someone said in the comments, I don't get why you guys hate Mitchell so much. And I'm like, if I were watching the show, I would have probably think the same thing, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I just don't like Mitchell.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Okay. Awkward High Five says, talk about wrestling cards, brother. Basketball blows.
I like that he said brother. That's good.
Yeah.
Talk about wrestling cards, brother. He said basketball cards blow.
Yeah.
Why don't you let me know when wrestling's been around for more than like a year of hype? Then we'll talk about how it's on the same level as basketball cards. Give me a break, man.
All right.
We started this little rant last week where it's like, do I need to remind everyone that basketball is the one that's been carrying this hobby for the last 5 years?
Right. Yeah. All right.
I'll do it.
My other page said, check out Prism Basketball 2021-22. They have a new insert called Prismatic. Is this insert the next Color Blast?
Garbage can? No.
No.
That's a pass for me. I thought you were going to talk about
Let's talk
Kate
about that
Cunningham
too.
picture. Yeah. Oh, you got it. Dude, come on, it's so bad. Okay, so what is it? Is it a Photoshop photo? Is it a preview card where that's not the real photo and they're going to swap it out with something better? What's going on?
Well, I mean, these are mock-ups, so there's definitely, I would think, time to fix this. But what I think is happening here is they took a picture of Cade from college and they just photoshopped the Pistons jersey on him, and they didn't change the background, obviously. So the background still has like TCU. I think like that would make sense.
Oklahoma State, right?
Rookie cards from Prism are usually
Rookie cards from Prism don't have backgrounds in them usually.
But it's a late release. They have a full season of photos.
That's true.
Oh, let's get Kevin on here.
Yeah. Kevin, explain yourself.
Well, no, I mean, like, maybe there's a good reason. Like, I don't want to be a dick about it and not know that there might be a good reason.
Yeah. No,
that guy gave such a great talk at the Mint that I'm like, I trust this guy now.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. Like, look, this hobby will cancel Panini over this.
I'd rather have you cradling a basketball in a photo room than have a photoshopped picture of a college. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Rip the Knicks came through with this one. Shout out to Rip the Knicks. We've all been there. He says, talk about finding a truly rare card that you need for your PC, but you're dealing with a seller that just won't budge on price.
I'm not taking this one. Come on, Mr. McCaffrey 101.
Yeah, I don't even know who has that card, though. That's the problem. I thought I did. Or, like, actually, maybe I do. I'm so confused about who has that card. It's just crazy.
He's rubbing his face. He's so disgruntled.
It's so crazy. I definitely know who has his National Treasures Shield, True Platinum Shield 1-of-1. I know who has that. Not the red one, the real Platinum Shield 1-of-1. But, like, I offered that guy $25,000 for it, and he turned it down.
Oh, it's frustrating, you know. Your emoji summed it up for me on that, and you posted the story of this question with the emoji of just like a bunny throwing money in the air.
Yep, that's what it's
offer more money. What are you gonna do? It's a 101 or it's a rare card. You have no choice.
Yeah. Yep, it really does suck. Like I don't even know if that question really was seeking an answer or if it was more just a let's vent.
I mean, that's part of what makes the collectible space so interesting is that like there's a decent amount of cards out there that it's like you can yell at me all you want, like go get another copy. Oh wait, you can't,
Mm-hmm. Yep. No doubt.
I'm in control. I have the card, you don't, so like cry about it, but this is the price.
I was offered double for my Maxi Kleba Nebula the day I purchased it.
Christina says she was offered double for her Maxi Cleaver.
And she took it. She took that $12 offer. Oh my god, that was so mean.
Okay. I guess we're just
He was awesome.
Christina saw us the slightest opening, and now we're just pumping Maxi Cleaver. Cards doubling on site.
Well, I've got this like kind of secret about Christina about this playoff series that I've been holding back, and I won't say anything about, And she played it off, Chris. She was just like, oh, like she totally didn't want to talk about it. She's like, yep, great game.
She's red.
She just like death staring you.
Oh, she's so adorable.
I was like, man, it must have been so exciting to watch that game. Oh, I dare you, Christina.
All right, let's move on. All right.
I dare you to watch the rest of the games.
Explain to Josh my anxiety level.
Okay.
No, I actually get it more than Chris does.
Yeah.
I actually have more empathy than he does.
Yeah, Josh totally gets it. Like, when we were at the Nuggets game, Christina was fine for the first 3.5 quarters. But when it got to crunch time, it was a close game. Like, I probably have bruises on my shoulder and arms from her just clutching and just like the Warriors fan sitting in front of us was standing up and she's like, "You need to sit down." And she was just going off. She gets really tense, like, and she gets really, really, really pissed. Like, if they win, she's like little bit pissed but relieved. If they lose, she gets so pissed and she just starts talking so much smack.
Dude, I almost canceled crossover over the Suns game, so I get it. Dude, I literally would have been the pissiest nightmare of a baby tomorrow.
All right. Tiger Jordan 311 said, please discuss the apparent correlation between the card market, or at least parts of the card market dropping, and parts of the stock market dropping.
I hate this question.
Yeah. Why? Talk about it.
I don't know. It's just like, I get, it's like I want to be super smart about it and tell you that like, oh, inflation and, discretionary income's going down because people have less money because the stock market went down and they spend less on collectibles. I don't know. I just feel like the collectibles market is just so illogical. It's like none of it makes sense. We're all buying pictures of athletes and none of it makes sense. So like, why would I try to apply logic to it based on like financial markets? It just,
yeah. No, let's just do this because this is more than enough. Let's just say Netflix stock is down 60% or whatever year over year, and like Disney stock is down like 50% year over year. Like let's just say, hey, look, like we're all suffering together in different asset classes or financial markets right now, and hey, look, nobody's really cleaning up. Bitcoin is down, 20 or 30% year over year. Like it's just, this is how it's going. Everybody's having a tough go of it right now. So like that's just like, let's not get needlessly bearish on ourselves because everybody is having it too. It's not there. No need to have FOMO over some other asset class. They're all getting killed.
My favorite, like my Google, I have like a Google news feed or whatever that like totally knows everything about me because Google's creepy like that.
Yeah.
And I always get articles that are like, recommendation articles that are like, when there's a bear market, people look to invest their money into physical assets because it's a better investment than, stocks or cash or gold when the market's down. And I'm like, that makes sense. And then I'll find an article that's like, the blast, it's all the worst. And I'm just like, whatever, man.
Yeah. By the way, I had to look up Bitcoin because like we have some Bitcoin truthers out there. It is down 22% over the last year. So.
And the CL index.
And the CL index. Oh. Let's look at the CL50. The CL50 over the last year is down 30%.
That was my only beef with your Michael Saylor thing is you were like, man, if you would have just invested in football, but like which one of those dinguses would have been like, I'm going to go hard on football this year? None of them.
No.
They would have done the CL50.
Yeah. Yes, they would have. And so but the CL50 since the CL50 is up 183%.
My favorite is like when you look at all those 2-year graphs, you're like, holy shit. And the 1-year graphs are all down, but the 2 years are still up like 5,000%.
And like, by the way, the crypto and NFTs had a second huge inflationary or like a huge inflation in prices that completely corrected. Like last November, it spiked to all-time highs, and now it's at half. It's 50% off for many NFTs and cryptos since last November. Like cards didn't do that. The CL50 did not have a second, even bigger spike in November of last year, whereas those other asset classes did. So like the CL50 1-year charts in about 2 months are going to be plus 20%. But the Bitcoin and crypto 1-year charts. David, we've not been trashing NFTs and Bitcoins, just so you know. Like, we just started on this topic, and we're just.
So I swear to God, like, he probably got some like notification on his phone that's like, Chris and Josh are shooting on NFTs. Join their live, and it's like, what?
We're not.
You spent 30 seconds on it.
It is not even happening right now. We are not shooting on them. We're just like the CL50 in. Let's see, the CL50 by middle of June is going to show a rate of increase of about 18%. So, like, we just gotta get through 2 more months, and all of a sudden, the CL50 looks like an amazing investment.
Well, David, it's just really funny because, like, him and I were talking last night about Wolf of Wall Street, and then he got like a recommendation for a reel of Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm like, oh my God, the internet gods are watching us.
Yeah.
And then we just started talking about crypto, and then it said Riverfront joined the live, and I'm like, gotta be kidding me. It was really funny, David.
Yeah. All right. So, but basically, our point is that we're all suffering together.
But like Netflix and Facebook, like some of these specific stocks are getting destroyed.
Dude, I don't even know. Isn't that alarming?
It's crazy. It's very alarming.
Isn't that really?
No, like stocks traditionally don't do that much, and it's like, especially big companies like that. Dude, Netflix stock in one day was just like minus 30%. It's like, holy shit.
Damn, that's a bloodbath, man.
Because Netflix announced that like they had lost 200,000 subscribers this quarter, which is the first time they'd ever lost subscribers, and they estimated that 30 million of their subscribers are sharing passwords. So people are like, oh my God, nobody cares about streaming anymore. It's all about cable. Like, panic ensues.
Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, if Card Ladder lost 200,000 subscribers in a month, we'd probably do a lot better than Netflix. But, still, I do feel bad.
That's why I always laugh about stocks, because it's like they lost like 1% of their subscribers and their stock went down 30%. It's like, it doesn't even correlate to actual numbers. It's just complete nonsense.
Just momentum and just silliness.
Oh my God, Netflix is going under. It's like, what? They're like one of the biggest companies in the world still, and they've got like, everyone still has Netflix. I still have Netflix.
Yeah. Although I may be canceling it after hearing about all these cancellations.
You're just like a total bandwagon noob.
Yeah, I just have no clue at all. I'm just like, well, everybody else is doing this, so.
That's why you invested.
Netflix a month.
$13.
I think you're right. I think that's like actually 14 or 15.
I'm undefeated today.
We all got super suckered into that whole thing where it's like, oh, cable's 90 and you can have Netflix for 15 plus YouTube TV plus Hulu plus Amazon Prime plus Peacock, and you're like, fuck, I'm back to where I was.
Plus HBO plus.
I have all of those. I have everyone I just named.
Nice. Yeah, and like, yeah. God,
it's not nice.
Don't let me get on a small capitalism rant.
I would love it.
None of those companies are operating at an efficient level either. They're all making cash hand over fist. So the economics of a competitive market are not at play here. This is just so much money flowing into these companies.
Are you talking about the game Monopoly?
Yeah, yes. No, I'm not. That's it. That's my rant. I'm just complaining that it's not an efficient market, and that's about it.
I would love to hear your like capitalism rant because I feel like I bait you into it and you just never take the bait.
Oh, honestly, I've taken positions over the course of my life on every side of markets. You could like throw a dart at the timeline of my life and just like, oh, he was way over here on this day, then he's way over here 3 years later.
Or you could search your past aliases and find some amazing. There's many ways to.
You know what's funny? I'm way too lazy to have burners or aliases.
Yeah, I am too, man. Can you imagine like which account am I on? 2 logins. Oh my god, I hate this.
I have to go look up the password to get in. Forget it.
You're the guy that writes down his passwords on a piece of paper.
I totally have all my passwords written on a piece of paper.
Dude, one of my favorite stories that I'm definitely going to tell in the biography or autobiography of Card Ladder in 10 years that we make ourselves because no one's going to want to make that is how like I just could not get over the fact you guys would not get on board with Google Drive and you just kept sending me spreadsheets through email. And I'm like, oh my god, if you send me one more email with a spreadsheet, I'm going to fucking murder you. And like, just put it in the drive. Jesus Christ. Just, like, that was my favorite part. It was just so funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like you did it on purpose at a certain point where you're just like, I'm emailing this bro.
Well, I definitely remember you getting to the point of just being like, nah, man, like you can't do this anymore. You can't do this anymore. I remember that.
Like, as the CTO, I will kill you.
You're just like the implication sort of lingering in the background is like how primitive, how just like technologically basic is this?
I'm balancing like I don't want to rock the boat too much and like yell at this guy. We got a good thing going, and then balancing that between like, oh my god, I want to murder him.
Yeah, I'm still not a huge fan of the Google Drive.
My other one is when people ask me to join stuff and then don't send me a calendar invite. Christina, you're my favorite because you always send me the calendar invite even before I even think about it. When people don't send me you don't send me the calendar invite, it's not even real.
I send Josh polls.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I agree. That's
because my wife will be like, "What are you doing next Thursday at 3?" Because I'm like, well, if it's not in my calendar, like I have no other way to check it.
I agree. Google Calendar, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Still too lazy to put most things into it, but
you're so close, and you're like, I still hate it, but
but still, I can appreciate it. I just, it's just a lot of effort. Just open up and click that yes. It's just
more effort to email a Word doc than it is though.
Dude, you know how I calendar my things? I have a text message thread with myself. It just says the things I have to do.
Oh my god.
All right. All right. Well, I suppose we can just. How are sales going?
I'm almost I have 200 of yours left. That's it.
Okay. All right,
dude, she's beasting tonight because she hasn't been talking or anything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just maybe go through about 15 minutes more of questions.
I'm gonna make her dinner better than yours.
David.
I know. David. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
That's for you, buddy. You realize I've had this card out the entire show just gazing at it.
That's good, man. That's the way to do it, I think.
Yeah. So if I've had a lot of bad takes today, it's because I'm not 100% there.
I feel like your takes are better today.
Maybe that's the key.
You're more reasonable on the live than you are on your stories.
Oh, 100%. 100,000,000%.
Like, I basically got you to admit Giannis is awesome, like, within 5 seconds, and on stories, you're like, he sucks.
Yeah, because on stories, I'm just yelling into the hateful void.
I kind of love that. It's like, this is my internet. Deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is going to get spicy. And don't even, bud. Don't even.
What's he mad about?
He feels like this. He may feel like this is a betrayal of Luka collecting.
How?
I don't know. It's not like the Luka Prism Black was out there for the take.
Well, you know how you have this take on. I'm gonna back him up on this. You're gonna get.
Let's go.
I'm gonna destroy you right now. You know how you have this take on, like, if you spend money on NFTs, you're taking it out of the card market.
Yes.
If you spend money on Jokic, you're taking it out of the Luka market.
Yes. No, 100%. It's so true. It is. It is. In defense of our contributions to the Luka market, over the last month and a half, we've spent a strong six-figure amount on Luka's.
And you got more coming.
And we got more coming, yes.
Pin David's comment. He's right.
Oh, that's very true.
Every time you come over to my house, I'm like, this is the guy that's making these stories about, like, taking these hard stances and battling with Lefko. I'm like, this guy's pretty pleasant in person.
Dude, it's something about the written medium. It's something about it that just, it doesn't always convey, it doesn't always properly convey.
Because, like, you do this thing where you, like, post it all in white text, except you, like, make some text red, and it's like, are you yelling at me right now, bro?
No, but it is a little bit, it does, like, imply that I think lowly of the audience, because, like, I'm, like, assuming they're not going to read the whole thing. So just, like, I'm going to make you read the whole thing by color-coding a few words.
It makes it very consumable. Your stories are very, very, like, every time there's a red circle around your coffee mug, I'm like, I'm about to, like, learn something. I'm going to click this because it's going to be a spicy take, or it's going to be very organized.
Yes, it's going to be a PowerPoint slideshow for the hobby.
How much time do you spend on that? Just, like, if you do a full-blown story rant, how long does that take? Dude,
when I'm doing the whole, like, little auction recaps, 3 or 4 hours, like, over the course of the day. Yeah, but, like, here's the thing about me. I'm cheating when I do that because we all know I'm very lazy. But if I'm making a story post, then I'm forcing myself to study something that I wouldn't study if it was only me learning it. But if I'm learning it with 1,000 people at the same time, then I'm motivated to put the content out. So, like, I use it as an excuse to look things up that I wouldn't otherwise. But my usual routine is I wake up, I'm groggy, and I just fire off 10 story posts about something, and then I just let them ride for the day. That's
how many do you get? A lot of DMs? Because you've got some, like, pretty spicy takes. I would guess you get some pretty hateful DMs.
Oh, so many. I get so many people who are just like hate Jokic. They wouldn't have any feeling about Jokic at all, but they hate him strictly because of me. Yes.
What percentage of your stories and or posts, what percentage of your content is you just, like, testing the waters with how much reaction you can get? I don't want to say trolling, because that's not what your goal is, but, like, you just want to poke the bear just a touch.
Like, how provocative am I willing to get just for the sake of being provocative?
Yeah, what percent of your posts or content?
I don't know. I often think a very provocative thought, but the story post lets me do it. Probably a lot.
Mine's like 25 to 30%, where I'm just like, I don't actually want to say this.
Like you use the story more efficiently. You're more about quality than quantity, but you will send out zingers.
I think it's fun.
Send out lightning rods. Like, you're just like Benjamin Franklin holding the lightning rod, daring
fun.
to strike.
He didn't hold a he held a kite with a key.
You're Benjamin Franklin with a kite and a key.
Well, like like the Lightning is like, you spent 3 months talking about Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies when he doesn't play, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking do one big old fat one right in his face.
Yeah. And then, like, I have to be a very good sport about it because 90% of the time it's other people just giving a dose of the same medicine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Dude, bring the LeBron smoke at me. I've heard
What smoke is
believe
there?
me.
There's no smoke.
Well, no. I was gonna have this rant tonight if you took this route. I was ready for it, where you were gonna, if you were to like complain about Jokic and his teammates and stuff and like him getting hate, I was gonna do this whole rant about, dude, I've been hearing that stuff about LeBron and his teammates and how he underperforms and he's not clutch for 2 decades.
Yep. Yeah, no, 100%.
So,
100%.
I'm like, at this point, I don't care what you say about LeBron. It's like, I don't care. I've heard it all.
I don't have many bad things to say about LeBron. Like,
I didn't say you. I just meant like, if you're gonna get Jokic hate, like, dude, get ready because it's not gonna stop.
dude, I don't complain. I fucking love the Jokic hate.
I know. That's true.
Bring it on. Because
Please.
somebody actually like win an argument with me about Jokic, and then maybe I'll not like it.
You win most of them, but the Giannis one, I'm like, I can't. No, you lose. I'm sorry.
On which that Giannis says
You did like a thing about like how Giannis like doesn't try as hard or something. Or he doesn't like.
No, I
like,
didn't do a thing. That was just me, you, and Adam were talking.
Yeah. I'm just like, I eventually will be like, well, I'm with you like 95% of that.
Yeah, no.
And you probably do that to me where I'm like, dude, I guarantee you, my texts to you during the Suns and Lakers games are so annoying where you're like, this guy is the worst.
No,
They're fucking...
no, we all go through that. Yeah, no, and we all fucking get carried away. But like, I will just say this about Giannis: watch his substitution. Watch his
There we go.
substitution pattern. Watch his substitution pattern. All right, why can't the guy play for more than 5 minutes at a time?
He plays the same amount of minutes as Jokic.
He does.
You lose.
He does. I agree.
So, like,
everybody only plays like 30 minutes.
He does. Okay, there was a time where he was on the court playing, and then all of a sudden I looked up and he was like checking in to come back into the game. I was like, when did you leave?
Yeah. You know,
You're right.
he does. And maybe it's not even Giannis. Maybe it's Bud. You know, maybe that's the way he does things. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think it's Giannis. Like he just like, maybe he like goes too hard and
Maybe.
he's like, I have to come out of the game.
Yes. That wouldn't surprise me if that was his. That's how he plays. He goes. He's never not at 110%.
Westbrook, I'm surprised, doesn't take himself out of games where he goes so hard for 3 plays that had no actual. That, you know, the plays that he went hard on don't add up to the ratio of what the whole game outcome is going to be. Like, why are you wasting all that energy?
Yeah.
For 3 plays in the middle of the second quarter.
Yeah. But when you also see guys who just like take plays off,
Dude, there's a lot of that going on in the NBA. Or I'm like, come on. LeBron does it so much right now because he's old and he's slower. He takes plays off all the time.
yeah, he gets a pass. If you're over fucking 35, you can take some plays off.
He
Especially,
has like the most minutes of all time already.
I'm not thinking about LeBron. I'm thinking about fucking Aaron Gordon getting beat on 3 back cuts.
Do it. Trash that guy. Come on, man. I've been waiting for you to trash.
The first play of the game that the Nuggets scored on last night was this insane alley-oop to Gordon, where it was amazing. I just
have this thing. I have this thing about guys who their entire game is just their athleticism. Like, that player bothers me more than any other player, and he just sort of is the face of it for me.
Yeah.
And that's probably unfair. He's got other pieces to his game. He can shoot a little bit. But there's certain players where it's like all they do is athleticism, and it's like, oh my gosh, please do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
There used to be way more of those players in the last 10 years than there are today. Like, that's kind of been phased out, and you have to have skill.
Yeah.
So it used to be really annoying, you know, Anthony Randolph and Josh Smith and stuff, where it's like, oh my gosh, do something else. But
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Josh Smith would not survive in today's NBA.
No. God, today's NBA is crazy. I'm just like browsing the questions to see if there's one or two that I just really wanted to get to that we didn't get to.
Yeah, like a Drake PC. Was there another?
Yeah.
No.
No, we hit the big Drake one, and then Drake had one about God, people are so sick of the Jokic talk. Drake said, Drake goes, I'm sure Jokic will be a popular topic, but earlier this week I heard Jokic compared to Aaron Rodgers as someone who has regular season success but can't replicate it in the postseason. He goes, what? But this is the question. So, like, that's the prelude. We don't have to talk about those guys. This is the question. Why is it that basketball and football players get hammered about the lack of postseason success, yet Mike Trout gets a pass?
This is the easiest one of the night. It's a total ratio game of the amount of percentage of control you have over the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And football quarterback is the highest,
right.
Basketball individual player is second, and baseball is a ridiculously distant third. Dude, in the NBA, if the game is tied in the fourth quarter, you can literally just go to CP3 over and over and over
right.
and just say, like, it's all CP3, no one else is touching the ball. In baseball, there's a good chance Trout doesn't even get to do anything. He literally has no ability to even bat once, let alone every time.
True. Very true. I think that's.
Do you have a better argument? That's the simpleton argument.
No,
do you have something better?
No, it's a totally fair take. But I do think that, and I've been on this for like a year or two, I do think that championships are overvalued in the sports of football and basketball. And I think that the importance that the team plays is undervalued in football and basketball. But I'm not saying it's the same as baseball. Baseball, it has a more appropriate concept of a player can be good while their team is bad.
I see.
Basketball and football, like, the player does impact the team more. I'm not saying it should be the same. It should be looked at the same as baseball, but we do give individual players a little bit too much credit for team success, and we knock them a little bit too much when their team sucks. Like, the Dallas Mavericks are a great example. They were 36-12 over the last 4 months of the season. They made the Porzingis trade. They were playing very well. Their quote-unquote best player, Luka, goes out, and they're still up 2-1 on a very good Jazz team. So, like, everybody wanted to lay it all at Luka's feet, but no, it's really not all Luka. It's actually this whole team, and team matters a great deal to basketball. And, like, look at the Lakers this year, too. Like, they shipped out Caruso, they shipped out KCP, they shipped out Kuzma, and, like, all of a sudden you're like, damn, maybe we couldn't just, like, plug in, Malik Monk, and who actually I think is pretty good. Like, we can't just plug in these other guys and just, like, no, those guys mattered. And you look at Caruso on the Bulls, and, like, he's a good player, and team matters in basketball and football a little more than it seems like we want it to matter when we talk about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just a laziness thing, or like people are just saying, well, this guy has 6 rings and this guy's got 4.
Yeah,
6 is greater than 4. Dude, there's obviously there's way more context that needs to be had there, and people just don't want to get into that context, and it's harder. And the media really pushes the championships too. I think that's a big part of it. It's like, if you don't have X amount of rings, you're a bum kind of thing. Which is unfortunate because, it's really sort of hurt the legacies of several players, Barkley and Ewing, that, dude, let's just go to the Barkley Horry thing.
No, can we not do that? Oh, my God. That's like the thing. That's like, is the dress purple or gold?
No, it's not that bad.
Oh.
Someone sent the clip of the movie where, I forget his name, Seagull is like, Jordan has 6 rings and LeBron has 4. That's the only argument I need, or whatever. No, it's not. You need way more arguments because Robert Horry has more than Michael Jordan. You gotta say more.
Yeah.
You have to say more.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but dude, like, it's funny South is back in here. South was sending me updates, or like Instagram posts about the Robert Horry signing that took place like a weekend or two ago. It was just line out the door. Just line out the door for Robert Horry. I'm just like, we are living in two different worlds. I live in a different reality than a significant number of people.
That's why you Jordan guys, some of you guys, I don't want to bucket you all in the same. Some of you guys, come on. You're seriously going to use the 6-0 finals? You've got other stats to beat me. You're so lazy. You can crush me with all these other stats, and you're like 6-0 in the finals. LeBron is 3 and whatever. Dude, I have more finals appearances than you. You just pointed that out to me. You helped me in my argument.
Yeah.
It's like, go to stats where I can't beat you. Come on.
Yep.
You've got wheelchairs, box score plus minus in your favor. You have you got so many stats in your favor. You could clobber me, and instead you're like pointing out I've been to more finals than you with worse teams. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go on a Robert Horry Barkley thing.
You've beaten that horse.
Barkley was an MVP of the NBA.
I feel like we shamed people enough where it's like, really? If you put that poll up again, I guarantee you Barkley would win. You're still like PTSD over how stupid that is.
I get what other side is saying. They're saying like, but Horry did the most with what he was given, and Barkley didn't. And Horry,
no.
I keep calling him Horry because it's hour 7. Robert Horry. Horry, he won all those championships. He got to be around Kobe and stuff like that. But like, the ball
dude, I feel like
got to be around Kobe, man.
Every time you show the career points per game for Horry, I bet you most of those people will be like, really? It was that low? Never mind. It's like 8 points per game or something. You know what I mean?
Even start? How did this even become a meme that like Robert Horry?
Well, if that's the case, dude, then where's the Bill Russell is better than Jordan stuff?
Dude, thank you. Why is can we blame this on the TNT Barkley Shaq show? Is that and Kenny? Is that really where this Horry love comes from? Because they're always just trashing Barkley because he doesn't have titles.
Maybe. It's more of a joke, obviously, but did you see the JJ Redick thing?
The Bob Cousy, like, plumber?
Dude, I was sort of like, keep going, JJ, fuck this guy.
I didn't.
Dude, who is that guy?
I just saw whatever South put to his story. That's all I saw.
Dude, ESPN brought on this, like, poor man's Skip Bayless, who's just, like, literally just saying annoying things just to, like, get Stephen A. riled up. And JJ had the face, like, Stephen A. does this thing where he's acting, and he, like, pretends to be mad, and it's this back and forth, right? Like, it's a totally staged thing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
JJ was actually mad. He's like, who is this fucking guy? And why is he telling me that Bob Cousy's better? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, keep going, JJ, get him.
Oh, yeah. Well, that guy's a very New York guy. If there's, like, a clip of him and Stephen A. going back and forth one time where it's just the most horribly New York thing you've ever seen.
Like, who is this fucking guy? What is happening?
All right. De'Aaron Fox, Brandon Ingram, or Donovan Mitchell, who are you? You have to start a PC of one of those three. Who?
PC?
You're gonna say Ingram. I can't even believe you're dragging it out.
I'm not dragging it out. I'm just like, I just want to really, like, let you guys know how much I don't like Mitchell by putting him last in that order. By going Ingram, Fox, Mitchell. I just don't like watching him play. It just really bothers me for some reason. I don't have a good – it's not a good – it's like the Trae Young thing. You guys can get mad at me and whatever. It's your Ja Morant thing.
Yes, we all have it.
It's more fun that way. Why would I like every player? That's no fun.
No. Yeah. And yeah, I like Ingram's prospects quite a bit. I can't shake De'Aaron Fox though. Like the Kings played the Mavs this year. This is all I ever see of another player. And Fox had like 44 points and was just brilliant. And that stuck with me. And like anytime I make a post about a player, Brandon Ingram, like, oh, he had a nice game, and like look at some of his cards, and then like, what are your takes on Brandon Ingram? Or like De'Aaron Fox, he had this really good game. Isn't this guy pretty neat? And then like at least some percentage of people are like gonna DM me You dumping your Ingram cards? You dumping
Why
your
can't it be?
you
Why
dumping
can't your stories be platonic ever?
you dumping your De'Aaron Fox cards? I'm like, bro, I have never even thought about buying a De'Aaron Fox basketball card.
Here's a hot take. Would the Jazz be? Well, it's not a hot take. It's a question that could lead to a hot take, and I'll give my answer. You switched because you got this like switching Jokic and Giannis thing, which
You're so mad about that one.
I am really mad about that one. Because like, here's why I win that argument. Giannis did win the championship. We're not sure if Jokic would. You have to like win the championship just to tie me in that win. Okay, so switching Fox and Mitchell are the Jazz better or worse?
Same.
There you go. And so people like completely forget about Fox because he's literally never made the playoffs because the Kings suck so bad.
Yeah.
Is he that much better? Is Mitchell that much better than Fox?
No. But like, can we just acknowledge though that like every postseason except for this one, Donovan Mitchell goes into Michael Jordan mode?
He's like fourth all time in PPG in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's amazing. Do you know who's first all time in PPG in the playoffs?
I don't know. Michael Jordan.
Nope.
Is it?
It's not MJ.
If you say Jokic, I'm leaving this live.
It's not Jokic. Jokic. No, it's not Jokic.
I don't know. Who is it?
It's Luka.
Whatever. The only time they're ever going to win a playoff series is when he's not playing. Actually,
he's playing
as much as
by the way.
As much as I hate on Mitchell, here's something funny. I looked at Mitchell's stats versus Devin Booker, and they're like the exact same player.
What, like career or playoff?
Everything. Just everything.
Yeah.
Playoff, like points per game, assists, PER, this season, career, everything. It's like so scary how similar they are.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell quietly had a very good statistical season. And
yeah, they're the
Devin
same
Booker
player.
did too, but not quietly.
Yeah, because it's like Booker's top 5, first team MVP, and I was like, how much better was he this year than Mitchell? And I was like, not even a little bit. They're the same.
Yeah. I guess so.
Dude, I'm not kidding. Go look at their stats. They're like the exact same.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god, they're the same player.
Just like Devin.
Like Booker doesn't pass either, and he doesn't rebound.
But Booker is going to be first team All NBA. And Mitchell is going to be lucky if he makes third team All NBA.
Yeah, my point is that that's based on narrative and the team success and other factors other than just like their individual players, which is what we were discussing.
Fair. That's why numbers, man, they matter. And numbers, like I had a little here's me on my soapbox story about a week ago where I was just like talking about why statistics are the language of sports. And if you can wield the weapon of statistics, you can convincingly tell stories. But
any story.
In a story. But you cannot it's very difficult to make the numbers lie. Because other people can look that stuff up just as fast.
You were ready to crush me on CP3 and then you're like, nope.
Nope, can't do it. It's very foolish to go against the numbers. If you go against the numbers, you eventually end up like Michael Wilbon on TV saying, the numbers are now lies.
He said tonight that the Bucks and the Bulls have this great rivalry, and that's what's going to fuel the Bulls keeping this close. And they were like, what rival? What? And he's like, Michael Jordan lost his first series to the Bucks, and they were like, that was 40 years ago, Michael Wilbon. He's like, they've got a great rivalry. They're close in geography, and it's just like, what are you talking about? They've never had any rivalry ever. There's no historically significant series between the two. Please stop talking.
Yeah.
CP3 has 0 rings. He's terrible. You're right.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
No, I wanted to make one other quick little thing.
Yeah.
To prove the point that you and I don't care about pumping players we own.
Yes.
Like we completely just put everyone in a vacuum. And it's like sometimes we bring up our own PC guys because we have to, because we collect them, or because they exist and like eventually they're going to come up. But we just sort of build this blank slate of everybody and just talk about what we see. Like I compared De'Aaron Fox to Mitchell. I think this guy's better. You know, we talk about LeBron and Jordan. I say Jordan's better. You know, we just have to look at it
100%.
in the back end.
Yeah, and we actually make an effort to do that. And I wanted to complete the thought on that too. Like, dude, constitutionally, psychologically, just personality-wise, I will never, ever hype up a player that I'm selling. Ever. It doesn't – I understand that the point of view is like, oh, I can make them look good so I can make more money. Dude, if I believe a player is good and worthy of hyping up, I don't want to sell them. I want to own them, their cards. That's what I want. So the logic doesn't – I understand how, like, there's a cynical point of view, and there are people who do this, maybe many people, who are just like, oh, Mitch Trubisky, he's going to have a great season this year. And then out of the other side of their mouth, they're selling his cards. It totally happens. That's not how my fandom works. That's not how my collecting works. If I'm selling a player, it's because I'm out on them. It's because I don't believe in them anymore.
Sell at the bottom.
Yes, sell at the bottom, buy at the top. That's how I operate. To me, it's so petty and small to do things to enrich yourself 2% more. How much more am I enriching myself? Who is listening to me tell them what to think about sports?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
that's the other side is like,
yeah,
how much can I actually move the market on a player with millions of fans? It doesn't, like, you're fighting an uphill battle anyways.
Completely. So that's why, like you like, somebody put the question, you selling, or Ricky Pulido says, are you selling your Jokic cards? I know he's trolling or he's joking. Like, dude, here's when you know I'm selling Jokic cards. Never. But if I ever am selling a player's cards, the clue will be I hate that player now. If I start trashing Jokic, then you know I'm selling his cards.
Yeah, some people may or may not be messaging me being like, yo, what's up with your boy Jokic? Is he pumping Jokic stuff? And I'm like, oh my God, you don't know Chris. He is so not doing that. It's not funny. This guy is like, he is that delirious, and he will be buying more Jokic stuff.
Yes. Correct. If I pour up a glass of Kool-Aid, it's for me to drink it. I'm not serving the block Kool-Aid.
Plus, like, we talked about this in text messages. How much is your own self-worth and pride worth monetarily? To me,
a lot.
And your respect and your reputation, dude. Those things I named are way more valuable than me having a nicer car or some shit. You know.
I'll say something else. Those cynics out there who, like, I don't know who touched you, who violated you, who penetrated you, to get you to think that any time a person says something publicly, it's strictly to line their own pocket. And whatever happened to you in life, I feel bad for you that you have such a cynical outlook. But you should not project that onto other people, because that's not the way other people are. So, like, when people are like, dude, I must have gotten 5 DMs. Like, oh, do you have Brandon Ingram cards? No, I don't have any Brandon Ingram cards, dude. He had a good game, and I thought it was interesting to talk about it with people. And you want to know when I'll have a Brandon Ingram card? After I've made 2 years worth of stories convincing myself that he's a good enough player to invest in. That's
plus,
why I
like,
having Brandon Ingram cards.
You actually enjoy seeing people that were bought into Brandon Ingram 3 years ago and win, and like that person is vindicated. Like, you made the post about, you know, it's much easier for you and I to shit on the wrestling hype and the wrestling peak and, you know, the middle finger and all that stuff. We could have gone that route. Instead, you said, dude, Brett's been, like, talking about this stuff and enjoying it and organically talking about it and just, like, loving wrestling for so long. Let this dude have a win, and I'm going to talk about it, how wrestling's succeeding because my friend is succeeding, and this is great. And you could do the same thing with Ingram. It's a platonic thing that, oh my God, it's real. There's people out there that don't just say things to make money for themselves. They actually enjoy success of other people around them.
Yes.
I know it's crazy, but I feel like that was a nice thing too.
Yeah. 100%. Right on. Yeah. There are some good people in this hobby who get wins that maybe we don't have any part of, and it's completely okay to congratulate them on it.
Meanwhile, all I talk about is CP3, LeBron, and Penny Hardaway. I don't ever talk about Penny Hardaway. Well, there's nothing to talk about. The dude's retired. He's a terrible coach. Someone asked me that. Do you want Memphis to win? I was rooting against Memphis because I don't like their team. I wanted Gonzaga to wipe the floor with them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like, when I read other people's posts, like, pumping up Giannis or whoever, like, yeah, I do think it's funny. Giannis has a good game, or Morant has a good game, Luka has a good game, and, like, everybody posts all their cards, you know. And I do get a chuckle at that. But I like that so much more than the alternative of, like, people pretending to like an athlete, or, like, people exaggerating how much they like an athlete because they think it's going to increase the price of the card.
By this much.
Come on. Give me a break. But that also speaks to the egos that are out there.
The key one, the giveaway to me is so simple. What an amazing game. Look at this card available.
Yeah.
Lamine is all over that stuff too, where it's like for sale.
Yeah. At least there's a dose of transparency there.
I don't know, man. That's just gross to me.
Yeah.
At least wait a day or so.
Yeah. And then it makes things more complicated too, because, like, sometimes I'll go into people's DMs and talk shit if they're just like, you know, Embiid is the shit, you know, and I got like an infographic coming at him like, yeah, actually Embiid's 0-14 in his game-winning shots, you know. And, like, I want to believe that person actually really likes Embiid, and that, like, you know, we're having like an authentic debate right now. Like, I'm like,
it makes you feel better debating Lefko then, right? Because you know he actually likes Embiid.
He's so authentic. Yeah, no, he's like us. But, like, I can't help but think, like, I might be going into some of these DMs and this guy's like, Hose, you are a moron. I don't actually believe this. Let me just pump these cards so I can sell them quietly in my DMs. So I'm just like...
They're like using your anti-takes to sell their own cards. That's meta. I'm going to use this dude's platform of how much he hates him to prove that he's actually great.
Yeah.
And then sell cards.
And by the way, just like word to the wise, if you're very fired up about your player and, like, you're kind of in the vacuum of posting your own story posts, you're not really, you don't have any feedback to bounce off of, you're probably making more people hate that player than like them. Just FYI, I think I speak from experience.
When people come into my DMs to, like, poke at me about how Trae Young did something, and they're like, "Oh, you must be so mad," and they'll like say some really good point about what he did or some, like, feat that he accomplished, and every time I'm like, "Dude, you're right. Trae Young was awesome tonight." Like, what am I supposed to say? Like,
Yeah.
No, he was terrible. I always hate him no matter what. Of course, if you have something that's like, yeah, he did good tonight. If you make a statement that says Trae Young was great tonight and they won because of him, I'm like, yeah, he was awesome.
But you know you're giving them a false sense of hope. Because
exactly. It's a deeper dig, Chris. It's a longer game.
It's a longer game because you know that post is coming maybe in a week from now, maybe a month from now. Trae Young's ass. You know it's coming.
That's the Skip Bayless special. He always picks the team to win that he wants to lose, so that when they lose, he can say, "Oh, they should have won. I picked them to win. They're terrible." He does that to LeBron every time. He's like, "The Lakers should win," or Giannis should sweep them, and then so that when they don't, he can tear them down. And that's that's what I do now.
Is Skip Bayless a Giannis hater?
He is. He's a Durant guy.
Oh, so he hates everybody that's not Jordan.
Curry.
Brady. Oh, he's like, of course he's Curry.
Brady and, like, Duncan.
And
the Spurs.
He hates Luka too. Like, that really created a big, whatever semblance of affection I felt for Skip Bayless because of his rants on Michael Jordan's behalf was completely removed when he started hating Luka.
Well, you got to remember though, dude. Those shows are like fully fake and scripted.
Yeah.
Him and Stephen A. have made it it's a new like type of sports analytics where it's actually completely fake. And they actually make it to the point where like they'll find somebody that just thinks the opposite of everything they think,
Right.
or they'll just force them into that role. Like Shannon has to be pro LeBron, pro Giannis, pro Luka, and then Skip has to be like Durant, Curry. It's like the freaking yin and yang. Like it's the opposite of everything. They don't actually ever think the same thing just for the show. Like you and I disagree on like random stuff where you're like, I thought these guys agreed on everything. That's their show. They just agree about everything. No, we find the things randomly that we don't agree on.
Yeah. I know that Shannon Sharp, he does not like Larry Bird, but he has to like Larry Bird for that show. That's one of the fakest shticks of all of the clips I ever watched.
Why is that one? What's that one? I don't understand that one.
I don't know. It must have been like a Magic Larry Bird debate or something, and Skip just wanted to take Magic and just listening to Shannon try to muster the case for Larry Bird was just...
The problem is that like I used to like Nick Wright, but now he's in that world now where he's doing it, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, come on! You don't have to like Brady sucks to be a LeBron fan. We don't all think Brady sucks.
Yeah.
It's like you're either Aaron Rodgers and LeBron and Mahomes, or you're Brady and Jordan. It's like, why are those the only two teams?
I don't watch that stuff. When I was sick it must have been 2 or 3 weeks ago now when I was sick, and I spent a day or two actually watching cable TV, I was appalled. That really was like the genesis of my specific like Jokic versus Embiid versus Giannis, was listening to Fox Sports 1 and ESPN for 2 days in the afternoon.
Oh my god.
That really got me.
Colin is really bad too, because Colin Cowherd will contradict himself from one episode to the next.
The herd. And like they would have panel after panel, because you mentioned Colin Cowherd. I watched his show, ESPN. They would have panel after panel after panel. Who's MVP? Embiid, Giannis, Embiid, Giannis, Embiid, Embiid, Giannis, Giannis, Embiid, Giannis, Embiid, Giannis, Jokic. How could that even be Embiid? Like it was gaslighting, because I'm tracking the voting through this Twitter spreadsheet that this guy has, who's like collecting sources like, oh, Bill Simmons, who has a vote, said on his podcast at timestamp 3123 that these are the people who voted.
Right.
Okay, I'm tracking it, and I know what the votes are, but all these TV personalities, Giannis, Embiid, Embiid. I'm like, this is actually distorting reality. This is not true. And
I can't remember there's one, I'm not going to remember, but Cowherd went on this huge rant about somebody, like a player, and then the next day made a complete opposite rant about how like personality is what drives the best talent or something, or it's like you need to have a work ethic over talent or something. It was like a complete contradiction of what he said the day before. It's like, how do you sleep at night, dude? You say the opposite stuff. Simmons did it with the Timberwolves, and I was like, come on, Bill, you're one of my faves. He's like, the Timberwolves, like, he started going down the path of ranking number one picks of all time and like talking about Edwards in the top 5. He wanted to do it. And then now he's like, Edwards is 20, the Timberwolves suck. I'm like, dude, you were ready to call him the next LeBron, and now...
Yeah. Yes, these are problems. All right, let's draw the show to a close. I'm getting tired, and we have to head out early tomorrow.
Where are you guys going?
Where are we going tomorrow? I don't know. We're taking it slow, I guess. I don't know. You're asking me.
You're just going to like be in Arizona for like 2 days and not here because I told you Tuesday.
I'll tell you this. I would say there's a 50% chance that we go to Salt Lake City for Game 4.
Oh, just do that, and then Game 5 for the Suns.
Let me see. I need to see how far we are.
Don't hold me to that Suns thing until like late tomorrow because I'm tired.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's completely reasonable. So Salt Lake City is 8 hours. No, we're not making it.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you, buddy.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.